DM screen. I've got my notes. I've got my pad for when I check how many hit points you've not got anymore when you die. Okay, we should be go. Let me find some music in the meantime.
I have a question though.
Okay, what's the question?
Would there be like specific stats for like smaller animals?
Yes, there are stats for all beasts.
Because I need like a small animal or something to have.
Type into Google the name of the animal, or if you do you need like a list of beasts? Do you just want a list?
I'm just gonna type in like small animals 5e or something.
You basically just want to look for the lower CR rating beasts, and you can do that with this website that I'll link you in Discord now. It is in Tales of Bela'Dun.
Tiny beasts. CR's grow and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so if you just change, if you go to Kobold Fight Club, the link that I've done, change type to beast, and then look at the ones that come up first.
Where do you link it again?
Tales of Bela'Dun in Discord.
Discord, yeah.
So, Sevi, you got the recap, yeah?
I have. It's going to be short though because there's I've written it from my perspective and I need to amend it.
You've written it from your perspective and what, sorry?
I need to like not talk about some bits that I've written.
Okay, cool. That's fine. I think I was going to try and half add to it anyway, so that's fine. Carry on.
Okay. We started mid-fight, am I right? Yeah?
Yeah,
Mid-fight.
I believe you started mid-fight with Ada.
Cool. So I started with, we continue fighting on, and Ada stands down eventually, forfeiting to us and recognizing he will eventually lose the right. I think I meant the fight. Man in charge comes to us and explains that we need to go meet Abaddon now and receive our boon. I turned down an offer from Ada for me to continue as the champion and stay within the city. We go to a strange room, very fiery, and we hear a booming voice, that seemingly of Abaddon. He commends our efforts and we all feel a rush of strength, and then he makes the others leave and keeps me in the room alone. I leave the room and quickly pull Namera aside to pass on the message. She's grateful, and we all head onto the marketplace to look for the convoy with the books. And then I didn't write anything more, apparently.
Okay. So what did we do in that time? We all wandered off to kind of do our own. Sorry, go on.
Basically, 90% of that was just walking around. There's some people. Where's this convoy going? We get to the convoy and then argue for about 20 minutes about how the fuck we're getting on the convoy.
Yeah, and then the convoy was passing us and we ended the session.
We were just standing there arguing as it was just.
We have forgotten the whole part of Vice turning into a guard and talking to like 5 different people and getting loads of information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Elcras walked back to walk it slowly so he could rest up. We talked to a bunch of people.
Yeah, I got told to fuck off along my
convoy
adventure.
And what's happening?
I swear it was the NPC.
Vice guard and gets some.
Music's always so loud. There's very little I can do about it. It's like 1%.
Information.
I've got on 4%. It's actually quite low.
Oh, that's weird. I must have my Discord like loud or something. I'm not gonna worry about it now. It's probably fine. We're louder than it, and I'm probably gonna change it at some point anyway. Yeah. So purely because of the confusion at the end of last session in regards to what was happening and over what time frame and all the rest of it, just in case it clears anything up, you guys found out about the whole thing with Arelueva and the convoy coming through, speaking to the librarian. Let me just turn down Discord slightly. Is this even the right thing? Yes, it is. Right, let's turn Discord down to like there, and turn you guys up. Well, I'll check you when you speak. So you found out through the librarian that essentially the convoy was coming to bring the various parts that set up the stalls that make up Arelueva. It wasn't made clear at the time, but essentially the stalls aren't necessarily all being manned by the people that brought. That accompanied the convoy. The convoy didn't have any sort of escort. There was no guard escort or anything like that, because essentially all they were bringing was bits of wood and material and stuff like that that's been used before. And then having delivered that stuff, as far as you were made aware, the convoy's objective was to then move through to the palace, where they were to collect the various books kept in the mage library that was once part of the palace, retrieve all of those books, and then take them somewhere south of Stalvin to be destroyed. You're unsure as to why they needed to be brought out of the castle to be destroyed, probably because burning that many books is going to burn down a decent portion of palace, but it wasn't sort of commented on massively. That's quite dark now. Let me just change this to white. There we go. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the librarian also mentioned the fact that anyone with a sort of penchant for knowledge had been inquiring as to who this convoy would be, with the intention of essentially making some kind of deal with them to have certain books misplaced for the purposes of this collection, to then be sold to them at a much higher price than normal at a later time/date. So the convoy arrived in Stalvin. It set up the Arelda Festival. That took a little bit longer than they planned, and as a result, whilst the festivities are starting off early, well, they're not starting off early, as they're beginning to rumble, it's quite late in the day on the 4th. Everyone expected it to sort of kick off on the 5th, and that's going to be the case regardless. As a result, as Nemea said at the start there, you guys found your way to the entrance to the Royal District, trying to essentially come into contact with the convoy without being too obvious, and did so successfully, as it entirely passed you by, as you sort of discussed what you were potentially going to do. You are currently, having let it pass you by, following the convoy at a bit of a distance, deciding between yourselves what you're going to do, and the convoy is making its relatively lengthy trip to, from what you can tell currently, the palace, just the front of the palace it seems like. It is early evening, I would say, on the 4th of Arelis, the first month of the year. Is there anything else that I've put in here? No. So yeah, what do you guys want to do? You're all collectively following the convoy currently.
Okay. So, are we gonna do this plan then?
Yeah, we're gonna
Think
split
about-
into twos.
Okay, split the
We're
We're
party.
going to
always
split
a
into
good step.
two groups of two. No, look, we're not going off in different places. We're just going to talk to people in different groups. So that it's not like 4 people accosting one man.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. You,
On like
you guys
either
do you.
side of like. The,
All right.
whatever.
Sure. So, is it? Sorry. Can you just describe it? You know, the convoy. Are there like 2 people either side? Like, or
Yeah.
is
So
it-
you've got 8 carts, 2 people per cart, and generally both person is, or both people rather, are on the cart. The cart's currently empty. They're not necessarily all sitting on the front of the cart. Each cart is drawn by 1 horse, but these horses look relatively small. They're not sort of huge war horses made for incredibly long distances. You get the feeling that there's more of a convenience to these horses, and perhaps they are bred for like long distances, but at a much slower pace.
Right. Okay. Can we look to see if anyone looks fed up
Yeah, sure.
and
Roll.
or tired, something like that?
Hungover, bored.
Yeah, sure.
that kind of vibe.
Give me insight.
Who? Doesn't matter.
Vice. If anyone else wants to do it, you can either aid Vice or make your own roll. Up to the 2 of you.
Well, I'll do it and Vice will do it.
Okay.
If that's alright with you guys.
Yeah. That's cool. That's okay with me.
Definitely just split my Adobe's by mistake. Bear with me.
14.
And Livia.
26.
Damn!
Okay. So, Vice, as you're looking around, you see kind of some disgruntled people, but you also see the 2 that you initially spoke to. One of them told you to fuck off.
Oh, damn it,
And
Josh.
you realise that when you approached them, despite the fact that you'd used the disguise self spell, you hadn't changed your face, you just changed your clothing. So for fear of them potentially recognising you, you start to try and look around the rest of them. At this point, Livia, you see a couple at the back that are definitely trailing behind. They're managing to keep with the convoy because they happen to be the second last cart in the convoy. but they're going slower and like slightly more slumped than the others. One of them's walking alongside with his hand on the cart that he is helping maneuver, and he's sort of just
Okay.
putting all of his weight on it.
What race are they?
It is a half elf and a human. They are a.
So I'm gonna nudge Elkas and Nemea and sort of point them out. Specific. Is the half elf is the one that's you said he's like leaning on it and looking a bit can't be fucked.
Yeah.
Elkas, are you a half elf?
No, I'm a wood elf.
You're an elf. That's all matter. You got pointy ears. It counts. So I'm gonna sort of elbow these two and point them out and be like, they look done. I reckon you could pay them to swap. Like, go. See what you
Okay.
can do.
Yeah, we want to head over.
And then we're gonna carry on. Me and Vice are gonna carry on, just walking along, talking like we're chilling. See, and then watch to see what happens with them before we do anything. Does that make sense?
So you're going to try and just keep up with the convoy whilst the other two go and speak to these two.
Yeah, and see what happens. Because if they fail miserably, then they need to come back and we'll talk. If they get on, then we'll carry on.
Okay. How are you sort of trying to stay out of sight whilst you follow the convoy? Are you?
Not suspiciously
well-
so. Like I don't feel like we're jumping from shadow to shadow like a cat,
No.
but I don't feel like we're
just
walking
kind
on
of,
next
you
to.
know, we're strolling along, probably
Wind down.
a good
Eating
like
sandwiches.
5 to 8 feet maybe, away from the back. We're following.
5 to 8 feet. That's not many
That's
feet.
very close.
You're basically
Like
on
20,
them,
like
on the back of
30
them.
feet.
I mean, sorry, I forgot how small a foot was.
you're between the range of 5 to 8 feet. You could be laying down and be
Like we're
that
at the
distance from
body's
it.
length of them. No, we're like 30, 40 feet away from them.
Okay, cool.
But in a
So-
direction where we can see what they're doing.
Roll me stealth checks, the two of you, and it won't necessarily be to see how stealthy you are. It's more about.
Oh my god.
Before they go, can I, because I was talking to Nemea mostly, can I
You're gonna
tap
say
her?
guidance. I'm pretty sure it has a time limit.
Oh yeah, it has a timer, doesn't it? Oh, it's either 10 minutes or a minute.
I think it's less than that, but if it's a minute, then that's.
Oh, really?
It's up to 1 minute. It is concentration up to a minute. Yeah,
I'll
I mean,
do
it
it anyway.
depends.
It's probably
it
not
depends how
gonna
quickly
work,
they
but-
move up to him. You are aware as well, for the billionth time, that that is a spell that you're going to do in the middle of the royal district.
Oh yeah, that's true. No, I
Don't
retract.
do it.
I
Yeah,
retract. I
That's the
retract,
last time I'm
yeah.
going to remind you guys of that. Next time I'm just putting it through. Okay, so yeah, roll me the 2 stealth checks, please.
Who?
Vice and Livia.
Oh right.
Oh.
Oh,
How
sorry.
was that not clear?
Oh no, sorry.
I
thought
was a bit
we-
confused. I was like, they're
I
going
thought
up
it
to
was
them.
about-
Why
I
are they
thought it
being
was about them
stealthy?
two. Yeah, I thought it was about them too.
No,
Sorry.
no.
17.
Okay.
14.
Cool. So, sort of unintentionally, you guys hang back, and you think that you're doing a pretty good job of just seeming relatively nonchalant. You're more just making your way around the royal district than specifically following this convoy. And as a result, you do see a guard go by. He's wearing standard sort of garb, probably wandered a bit too far from the market district, and he pays you no mind as he just walks by. Meanwhile, Nemea and Elkas, you've got this information from Livia. How are you going about it?
I just want to walk straight up to them.
Okay, cool. So you do so, and you can see this half-elf fellow looking a little bit uneasy, walking along the side of the cart. You also sort of gain the attention of the two ahead and the two behind. They're at a distance. The one behind and the one behind and the several ahead. But I meant the people.
Yeah.
You're at enough of a distance that to talk to those other groups, you'd have to shout a little bit. So whilst they're sort of throwing you some quizzical looks, like why are you approaching the convoy? Do you know these people or something like that? They're not really trying to say anything because they're aware that they're at a bit of a distance. The person that you come straight up to looks over at you and doesn't really say much. What do you do?
Okay, I want to just like tap him on the shoulder. I don't know how close I am, but this basically be like, hey, me and my friend, we're just really looking for some work, and we just want to is there any way we can help you guys out? Like,
We don't seem to be having too much fun here, so I thought we might always just come lend a hand.
I was looking for a way to get out of this, but they've already paid us, so I kind of have to do the job. You'd need to make me a bit of a deal.
Well, how much are they paying you?
Well, let me check.
Let me ask Jesus.
Pulls out a new
He opens his
It's like a
lodge,
cross
his
of it.
lodger book. It's 1 plat for setting up a Relueva, and another for collecting the books. And then you hear the human from over to the side look over at him and be like, "Oi, careful what you tell strangers."
Well, 4 plat. Let's settle it.
Wait, so you'll pay me 4 plat and you take my place?
Sure thing.
Do you think you could do
If
that
you're
deal again? You could
with
probably
that.
take his place too. And he turns back to him and he climbs up onto the cart now that's slowly being pulled and goes over to his friend. And you hear some sort of whispers and the guy kind of like shoves him and it's just like, hell yeah, let's go down the pub. And he clambers back over to you, slightly a little bit bruised. You start to realise that this distance now that he's not so much drunk as he is just sort of a bit exhausted. Although probably drink at one point played a part. He clambers back down and looks at you both and it's just like, if you're willing to pay for both of us, you can take our seats right now. You'll need to listen to the front guys though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this might get us some more work in the future, so I think it's worth it. And I just give him 4 plat.
Yeah,
And you
I'll
give the
hand
other
over
guy
the
4
4
plat.
plat as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they,
Get on.
I'll clamber up and take the
Ooh.
reins.
as you guys get on the cart, the half elf sort of starts walking away and the human goes with him and then stops, turns and then runs over to the front of the convoy, which takes him a few minutes. You can see a bit of a conversation between him and one of the guys on the front, and then he takes a few steps back, watches it goes by a little bit, and then just turns and leaves.
I didn't know carts had horns.
Did I say horns? Oh,
No, we're doing
Well,
a border thing.
sorry. I'm keeping it in world. Okay, so Livia and Vice, what are you guys doing as you see those two get on this cart?
So
We
which
kinda-
cart is it? Are they second to last?
Yes.
Or was it
Second to
second
last.
to, and the
7.
last cart is the dude that Vice has already spoken to.
No,
No?
no, he
Or he's
saw
just
he
in
saw
the
that
convoy
guy
some-
as he was looking sort of from the front back, and then you caught the two at the back as you were looking.
So what
Okay.
does the guy on the back look like? What's their condition?
2 humans that just seem to be happily going along. They look a bit confused as to the switch over that just changed place. You heard one, I don't know, yeah, you guys would hear it. You heard like a shout of one of them just being like, "What are you doing?" And then being like, "We switched over," and then they just walk away. You can kind of see them whispering between themselves as a result of that exchange. It seems a little bit odd, but they're not questioning it too much. It seems like they're mostly in it for themselves.
I'm gonna say Vice.
Yeah.
They definitely just saw what Nemea and Ulrich did. Nemea and Elcas did.
Who is
And
he?
They haven't grasped, so
It's true. They have.
that's a good start. Also, if we go tell them and say, look, you want the same deal, they might just be up for it. But I mean, they might not. But if
Well, I
they've not
mean-
grasped, I don't know.
I mean, what was? Sorry, I cut off at when you said how much they were getting paid for the job. How much were they getting paid?
Well, you
We
don't,
don't
you
know.
don't know
know
'cause
yet
you didn't
anyway.
hear it.
Oh, they just offered 4 plat.
You didn't hear the
you didn't.
conversation, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
no.
Yeah, but we
Oh,
didn't
okay.
hear what they're doing, so it's
Oh,
irrelevant.
we didn't hear. Okay, fair enough.
You couldn't hear him. You'll have to figure it out. For
All
yourself.
right. I mean, okay, cool. All right. Well, do you wanna go over and have a chat with him?
Yeah, let's go. Well, let's start with, do you need some help? We're happy to get paid and give some hand. And if it turns out, look, you know what, well, I don't know, what approach do you think we should take? Should we offer to help them, or should we try and just pay to swap out?
I mean, we can always go down the route of just offering to help them as well, and just say, we're looking for work as well.
We're looking for some work and some experience, and is there any chance they'd mind us bumming along? We don't expect to get paid, but
Yeah. That sounds good.
let's try that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that. If
Okay,
not,
cool.
then maybe we have to turn to, look, we could really do with the experience, like, let me give you some money.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Let's go.
Go on then.
Okay,
All right.
so as you two start to head towards this cart, you see another half elf. head from the cart ahead of Nemea and Elkas is, and step over to you two. He steps down from his cart, Elkas and Nemea, and you see him just wait for your cart to come by, and then he puts a hand on the side, pulls himself up slightly, steps on the wheel momentarily, and just jumps up into the back. He looks at the two of you and just says, "Hi, I'm Chanel. I understand you're going to be taking over the cart for the duration of this job."
Yeah, could you give us a bit more of an explanation to exactly what we're just sort of like writing it up?
Sure. Well, I mean, we had a deal earlier. Everyone had a deal here early on that if you need a break or anything like that, you basically have to find somebody to replace you.
Okay.
They've already been paid, so I assume they've just passed that payment on to you. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, because you're both new, you can't ride solo. So I'll need one of you to just quickly head up over there with my friend and join him on the cart ahead, and I'll be taking the reins of this one, if that's okay.
Yeah, no
Sure.
issue.
I'll stick
Great.
with
Who
this
wants
one.
to switch?
Okay. I'll go, and I'll just jump off and go over to his friend.
Thanks very much. And he sits down, takes the reins from you. I'll cast you offer them.
Yeah, that's fine.
He asks you your name and starts sort of having some banter.
Do we hear any of this?
Lightly.
But you
It's
can
as
probably
you're
see
walking
what's
up.
going on.
You can see it, but you can't hear the words specifically.
Okay.
I'll say that my name's Elkas.
Okay, so he just starts talking to you about how well you know Stalvern and where you were before, if not here. Here he points out that you're quite tan for the south.
Yeah, I'll give a sort of vague explanation of like I'm from a tribe. I'm not
Yeah.
really from here. Not been here for long.
He's mostly making pleasantries. It seems like he's genuinely interested, but like he's not noting down this information.
Yeah.
Nemea, you run up and join the human on the other cart, and he kind of gruffly welcomes you, knowing what's going on already, seemingly having had this agreement with Chanel, and he offers you a hand to sort of help you up onto the cart as it doesn't stop. I assume
Okay.
you get on? Yeah? Make a dex acrobatics check for me. Acrobatics or athletics, your choice.
Give me 1 second. 1 second. Where's that? Oh, it's a
Athletics is under strength, and acrobatics is the second one under dex.
Yep.
I imagine you're more dexterous than you are strong, but I don't know.
Indeed, yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ooh.
So he kind of offers a hand, and probably without it, you would have just full on fallen off as you kind of bash your shin on the side of the cart, and he has to pull a little bit harder than he was expecting. Let's make a roll for him. Okay, he rolled a 17. So he pulls you up and kind of looks at you like bloody rookies, and he kind of just says, "Chanel's the talker. I don't really care what you're doing as long as you get the job done. Sit still, and we'll get you inside."
That's what I'm here to do.
And he just looks back forwards. Vice and Livia, it's about this point that you reach, or that you closely reach the back cart of the convoy.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we want to go over there and talk.
There's a human and a dwarf.
Yeah. I will talk to the human.
Okay. So he just looks at you and he's like, "Seems like there's some attention on this convoy, a bit of trade. Looking for the same thing, or you just, what do you want? Directions?"
Yeah. No. Hey, friend. No, I'm actually, me and my friend, we're actually looking for the same. We're looking for a bit of work right now. So anything, that you be willing to, do you need any help? Willing to help us out?
I can probably speak to the boss man, see if we can get you cut in. You can ride with us.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Honestly, we'll be happy to work without pay. We are just looking for a bit of experience. That'll be
Work without pay. Why are you so interested in joining us?
It's not about just joining you guys. It's more about just making ourselves useful right now. To get experience,
You looking to work in Stalvern or out of Stalvern?
But we're just finding work as it comes, really.
We're travellers, so
Yeah.
while we're here now, we're quite happily to
Okay,
move
because
on,
I don't think we're staying in Stalvern too long after this job.
If you could put in a
Okay.
good word with us, with your boss, and if we can do some good work and impress him, and he can find us some work, we're not stuck to Stalford by any means.
I
That'd be
mean,
great.
I can put in some work, but not some work. Sorry, I can put in a good word, but not for free. And I don't think he's gonna overlook this for free either. And the dwarven guy just looks back at you and he's like, "I don't know. I feel like I'm not getting paid enough to work these reins." And he's just looking forwards.
How about 5 gold each?
The guy looks at the dwarf again, and they both sort of just share a glance, and he's like, "Sounds good. Leave it with him." And he jumps down off the cart and
I'll give it to him.
sort of picks up a little bit. The dwarf takes the coin. Vice, you pay the same.
Yeah, of course.
Sit down in the back. We'll see what happens when he comes back. Don't worry, you can have your coin back if it's a no. About 10-15 minutes pass, and the guy comes back and sits down there, and he says, "Captain says he doesn't mind, long as the coin's coming out of our pockets. So, wait,
Awesome.
what was-
Thanks, man.
You guys.
Thanks very
gave
much,
them-
guys.
Coming out of your pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's implied that the captain has said to him, like, if they're getting paid, these two need to pay for you, essentially. But he hasn't. You don't know whether or not he's then passed that information on to the captain. He's probably kept it quiet from what you can tell. The fact that you're willing to work for free / paying them. So you guys sit in the back, and you're all kind of collectively on your way to the palace. You approach the front of the palace after a decent portion of time, about another kind of 40-ish minutes goes by, and you can see the looming huge gates of the grand kind of entrance to the palace, and the convoy begins heading down a larger road to the right, and kind of moving parallel with the palace. Does anybody want to do anything?
I just want to ask these guys so how long have you all been together, and what are we doing right now? What's this job?
Okay, so the dwarf kind of looks back at you and is like, it changes, people come and go. We're sort of part of a bit of a larger group, and we kind of just tell each other where the work is, and people get here if they can be bothered. We take on any job that comes our way, and the boss man handles all of that, really. It's been a few months on the road until we got to Stalvin, and my understanding is we're going to have a bit of a break after this one, and then be out on the road again. I think we're heading further west. That's right.
After Arelueva. Oh, sorry.
Areldueva.
Waiver.
Oh, so
Right.
close. Oh, I was so confident, and I went to say it, and I just got really scared and said it wrong.
For the one that actually lived here.
Yeah. Roll persuasion for me, Livia, just to see how much this guy cares to tell you.
Yeah. Not much.
Okay.
4.
So after sort of explaining that, he kind of shuts down and just carries on, leading the cart.
Fair enough. Are we just sitting in it? Is that
You
right?
two are in the back. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You and Vice.
Okay.
The
Well,
mayor
that's
is
me
with
done, unless
Chanel,
Vice
and
or the
Elkas
other
is
two
with
want to
the
say anything.
man on the other one.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, Elkas?
Um, Actually, do I have anything?
The mayor, you want to do anything?
No, because he doesn't want to talk, and I just want to get on with it. I just I've said, I just want to get on with the job and get
Okay.
paid.
So it starts to get relatively dark as you guys head for about another hour. You eventually come round a side of the palace that looks to have 2 Kingsguard, marking a big entrance, but nowhere near as big as the main entrance to the palace. They... You see at the end of the convoy, the 2 of them having a conversation with somebody up front. It looks to be another dwarven fellow with slightly more reddish hair, and you get the feeling that he's this boss guy running the convoy that you've heard from the others. A conversation takes place, and shortly afterwards the carts are taken up alongside this fence and left there. You see him go into a satchel that he has and present what seems to be some papers, and then people start heading in. The dwarven fellow in your cart, Livia and Vice, just looks back to you and says, "Looks like we got the go-ahead. Just stay close to us and carry as much as you can." Nemea, the guy who's sitting with you, gets up and just says, "Stick with Chanel. He'll show you around." And then Chanel with you, Elkas, is just like, "Great, we're here. So if you want to follow me, I'll make sure that we meet back up with your friend. And I think we're just going to be bringing out the books for a few hours. And then I get loaded up on the cart. The cart goes off somewhere else, and then they head out to the south or something. I'm not too sure."
Sure thing.
Great. And he steps down. You all collectively make your way to this larger entrance to the side of the palace. Let me change the map to start with whilst we're here. Anything you guys want to do as you're moving through?
No, I'm okay.
Not really.
Maybe just
Just wanna
kind
try
of.
and-
Trying to stay in, inconspicuous.
Okay.
I'm just gonna sort of look at anything I say to Vice. Are they gonna hear me?
Somebody's gonna hear you. Yeah. I mean, you could try and whisper. It's up to you.
Nah, it's fine.
So you all head on down the length of the convoy, kind of moving along with it as it gets like stationed up alongside the section of fence that passes the door. There are two Kingsguard there. They're wearing kind of heavy armor, robed in the same way as all the rest of the guards in Stalvin. Mostly white white clothing adorned with flourishes of embroidery, and the armor is quite fancy. These guys are wearing a more simple kind of what's the word for it? What's the thing that you have over the top of your armor, Sevi? Tabard.
Tabard.
They're wearing a relatively simple tabard, and it has the symbol of Stalvin on it. They both have quite large, like halberds, and they have helmets on. And as you guys pass through, one of them kind of sees you and is just like, hurry up, and as you guys start to move through, you hear them have a quick back and forth. Where one of them says, "Are we going with them?" And it's like, "No, I've told them where to go. I'm not going up and down those stairs a million times. This is going to take them ages." And you will pass through. The collective group of about 20 of you is heading down quite a large, ornate hallway. It's lit by sconces, and as you pass through the opening that has these large wooden doors, the doorway that you have to get through to get into the palace, or through this entrance to the palace, or this part of the palace, you head down a long stone hallway. It's lit frequently enough that it's not particularly dark, despite the fact that it's relatively dark outside now. There's quite a nice red carpet running down the central section of this stairway, with gold embroidery along the edges. As you head all the way down to the end of this corridor, it heads off to the left or it goes to the right around a spiral staircase. And everyone heads down the spiral staircase. A couple of the convoy men let you guys start to go ahead, and you mix in with the group a little bit. Nemea and Elkash, you guys kind of catch up, but then are brought a little bit forward, and Livia and Vice, you guys are kind of ushered forwards from where you were, but you're still sort of at the back, whereas the other two are kind of at the front now. You have to head up about 3 full flights of twirling stairs, going up this long staircase, and what you come out to is a very large cathedral-esque open room, with walls and, well, not so much walls, I suppose. Perpendicular to the walls are many bookcases that are hanging off of pillars on either side. They have these black chains covering the shelves, the front of the shelves, and the red-headed dwarven fellow begins to draw a key and unlock some of these chains. He takes a few books and mostly just keeps the key on him and starts to head back downstairs, and he kind of lets everyone up into the room. As everyone starts filling out, he says to anyone that wouldn't have seen, "I've opened the first few, start collecting them, head back down, fill the carts, let's get this done quick as possible." And he heads down the stairway and kind of disappears into the darkness. What do you guys want to do?
So am I right in thinking that he's like opened up some bookcases or whatever you want to call them, so
Yeah.
that we can start taking the books down and taking them
So
outside?
you're in a room that's like quite big. Let's say the spiral staircase doorway is like here. There's the spiral staircase. And along all of these are long shelves of books like this.
Is someone in the toilet?
Yeah, Max is.
No.
No, I'm just pouring a drink.
And then the chains run either side of these. But the first ones are kind of here now.
And he's unlocked them so that we can start taking the books
So he's
down.
unlocked them and sort of
Yeah.
taken them along like a rail that runs along the top, so that you can start taking the books out. And plenty of people are grabbing a selection of books and just walking them downstairs. Max, fucking hell, where do you live?
Hey, I told you, man. I'm sorry, I'll shut the windows. It's really hot in my room.
So much life.
Stabsville,
around.
UK.
So who's the one? I swear one of us has a description of what the book looks like written down because we've discussed it before. Because we
That
want
would be
two books. We want the book for him and we want my book, right?
Yeah, I've got a description of one of them.
Also a book.
They're called the Sanguine. I think it's Sanguine Source.
Sanguine sorcery.
Yeah, black book with red trim.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I took.
Okay, so I'm gonna say to Max, Vice. Sorry, I'm getting really bad with names today. To the who's the first person that's going downstairs with the books or about to leave with books?
From what you understand, he's already gone, and from what you understand, that's the guy running this job. He's a dwarven fellow with reddish hair.
Okay.
Okay then.
So what you think about, like, finding someone and just
Well, I'm just
asking
saying
them to look out for a book?
We need to look for the books on our own anyway. But if you can say to someone, look, if you find this book, or if any of you find this book and you can get it to me, I'll pay you 5 plat. Like, pass the word along.
Yeah.
I'll give you half the
Okay.
money, and then if we get the other guys to do the same about my book, then hopefully we've got everyone looking for the books. But at the same time, we need to be looking for these books.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look at Nemea, I'm gonna look at Vice, and be like, you tell them about that book, and Nemea, you need to speak to someone about my book, which is Divine Cognition and the White Lady.
Yeah.
So if you guys
Know
can
what
just
the book
grab
looks
people,
like as well.
God, I think mine is white with
White.
gold binding,
We can
but
probably see the trim.
Yeah.
I'm going to check the trim.
It is gold.
It is gold.
In the middle of all this, I'm just sort of like keeping like inconspicuous, going to pick up books, but I want to like look along the bookshelves while I do it.
Okay.
So I'm going to say to Maya, if you could find someone and just say, look, I don't care what you'll pay, like just offer 5 plat. Offer
Okay,
5
well,
plat and say,
to
look, if you can
start
find it,
off-
pass the word around. If you can get it to you or me, whatever. Well, don't say me actually, say you, because they think we're here looking for work. So
Yeah.
say you, and then Vice, if you do the same
Yeah.
about your book, then hopefully we've got a couple of people looking for it. But we need to be scanning those bookshelves. Why don't we all split up and look at the first ones quick, because they're taking the books quick. We don't want to miss it. And then maybe 2 of you take the books down, and then maybe me and you, Elcas, we can move to the second rail and just have a quick look at those books.
Okay. But yeah, first off I wanna do a perception check or something and like see if I can specifically see a white book with gold trim.
Okay,
'cause
roll
that
investigation. You can't
Yeah,
see the
that
trim
would
of any
stand
of
out.
these books whilst they're on the shelves.
Can I not? Okay.
No, you can see the binding, and that's basically it.
Yeah, but it'll be a white book.
Yes, it would be a white book, theoretically, if Olivia's description is correct.
So I'm doing
Don't
investigation.
say stuff like that. I swear I got told it was a white book.
Yeah, investigation, mate.
18.
You can see in the across the bookcases that have already been opened, on the sides that are currently visible to you, as you guys are sort of making your way into this area. You are standing about here, roughly. About 4 books with white bindings.
Okay.
Roughly where? Like.
There's 2 here, 1 here, and 1 here. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm doing like the same as what Livia just basically said. It's like I'm just sort of being inconspicuous, but I'm going to the like here, like the second row. There.
To go and sort of like slowly gather books, but be scanning the shelves for either of our books.
Okay, cool.
Nemea, do you tell me with the white books that you see?
Yeah.
Elcas, roll performance, and Livia do the same.
Performance.
Yep.
Performance. Doing a show.
Where is performance? Oh, there it
Gonna
is. I'm
flip
looking at
a
the wrong
book,
thing.
like
Ton of
spin it
charisma.
on my finger. Oh god, I don't even have.
It's like the worst thing for me. I hate doing stuff like this.
Oh my goodness.
So both of you, as you linger too long over these books, seemingly searching them, get kind of nudges from the nearest person on the convoy, none of which were Chanel, the kind of happy dude. And they sort of just nudge you and say, like, we're not here to read them, we're here to get rid of them, take them downstairs, and they shove a few books in your hands and tell you to get moving and carry on collecting some books themselves.
Okay. I think I would have automatically gone over here. Oh wait,
I think you need to
how
be
do I
on
do a
the.
fucking?
I think
Just
you need to be
hold-
on the
hold down.
arrow.
Yeah.
first.
So I'd have gone to these two first,
Okay. And Elkas,
With the
you said you went
And I
over
with the
went
here.
intention of grabbing them initially,
Okay. Cool. So.
and then obviously if they give me
Olivia,
more
the
books,
two
that's
books that you've got before you get nudged, one is called Deep Winter Tales, and the other one is called The History of Lenses.
fine. Interesting.
And then you get nudged and given a whole bunch more books, and sort of motioned to head down the stairs, start making your way to the carts.
Okay, I'm gonna go down the stairs and I'd like to be able. I don't know how possible it is, but I'd like to be able to see if the other books are one that Max is. I can't remember the name of it.
Sanguine Sorcery.
Yes,
You
that
don't
one.
see
So
that
as I'm-
amidst the books you are holding.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Elkas,
So I'll take it down and go put it in a cart or whatever.
are you trying to take the white book that you've gone close to?
I imagine I would have a look at it.
Okay, so as you spend some time looking at it rather than picking it up, you get nudged after just looking at the one book. It seems to be called Wine and
I
You.
don't mean I would just stand there and look at it. I mean, like, I would grab it and just be like,
Okay,
yeah.
it's still happening
okay.
quickly enough that this happens regardless. So as you pull it from the bookshelf, you see that the white binding was only really on the binding, and it blurs into a red down the side. And the white is kind of a bit of a kind of tintedy yellowy white, and it's called. I did just say the name of it. It was Wine and something. I've lost it.
Yeah, something, I forgot.
I think it was called Wine and You. And you then get kind of shoved, given a handful more books that you don't really recognise, and sort of forcibly edged towards the stairs as though you're doing a shit job. What do you do?
I'm going. Take
Okay,
them upstairs.
cool. Nemea, what is it you were doing? After looking for and seeing
I
these books and passing the info on?
grabbed. I was searching this bookshelf. This one.
Okay.
And I want to grab a bunch of books because I want to go down to the caravans, and then I want to start like kind of organizing the mess that people are making,
Okay.
and like so that I can kind of have a look, but also want to be like, oh, you know, we can stack way more books on here if we actually organize them. Rather than
Okay.
chuck them in a
Roll
pile all off
roll
the-
persuasion and Vice. What are you doing?
I'd like to see if I can see any other people around from
There's
where
loads of
I
people
am
around.
standing. No, I mean around. I want to move over this way here
Okay.
and see if there's someone that I can talk to. See if I can ask
So
them.
everyone is pretty much at the front of the hallway. You managed to kind of catch
Well, right here,
a bit
right
of an
here.
outlier. So everyone is currently sort of like, here is the end of people, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You go a little bit
cool.
further than that and manage to catch somebody kind of by themselves. What do you want to say to them?
Cool. Hey, I was like, hey,
Yeah?
you interested in making some coin?
Yeah, that's why I'm doing this.
So some extra coin.
I get your drift. What do you have in
Okay,
mind?
cool. So, listen, I'm
No, but more coin than that.
it's like, hey, listen, I'm looking for a book, specific book,
I think you've come to the right place.
right? For if you could find a book for me, called Sanguine Sorcery. It's a black book with red trim. Yeah, there's 5 plat in there for you.
Sounds like a good deal. I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, tell any of the other guys helping, but try and keep it away from the boss man.
Roll persuasion for me.
You persuade that man.
Persuade this man.
You persuade that man.
I'll persuade this man.
Or maybe it
Persuade
works, you're not
this
rolling.
man right
There
there. Yeah.
1 sec.
God.
Okay, cool. Plenty. So he looks at you and he goes, "Sounds good. Name's Livorin," and he goes to shake your hand.
Nice one, Livoria. My name's gosh, what was my name?
Vice.
Darius.
Well, good to meet you, Darius. Word to the wise, I probably wouldn't pass that kind of job around all the men. Some people are here,
Okay.
they're a bit righteous. There's probably
Okay,
a
is
couple
there
more you
anyone-
could get it by, but don't worry, I'll find it for you.
Yeah. If there's anyone that you know that you can trust.
No, it'll be fine. I'll find it for you. Don't worry.
Okay.
And he picks up a big selection of books and then heads downstairs. So Nemea, as you start doing this, the dwarven fellow that came down with the key, you see him hand the key off to one of the King's Guard, and he notices you just sort of organising and putting the books in a slightly better way, and he comes over and he kind of just like gives you a bit of a sharp kick to the side of the leg. It's not fully aggressive, but it is like unnecessary. He looks at you and he's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, I just thought we could fit way more books on here if I organised it. And, you know, if
Chanel
we
said
if we
you lot wouldn't be
all
any
at the
trouble
time-
if I let you on. I'll let you on as a favour to him. Get back inside and get more books.
My bad. I'm right on it. And I just go straight back up.
Okay.
Because I got an outline, so I have to fucking do.
What are the rest of you doing?
I know it's annoying when he doesn't make it easy for you.
Yeah, but it makes it all the better when you do succeed.
yeah, of course.
No freebies in this game.
Shut up, we aren't the kind of people that play games on easy. Fuck off.
So what's everyone else doing?
Where am I?
You've probably taken your first swathe of books now,
Yep.
and the first 4 bookcases are still not clear.
When I is the boss man around when I take my books downstairs?
Yeah, he's out the front.
Okay,
Pass a
then.
limping Nemea as she.
Is it really obvious if I like where I'm putting the books? Like, can he see me really obviously? I
Yeah,
mean?
he can see you.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll just put them down and go back upstairs.
Okay, cool.
I'm
Okay.
gonna look for Vice.
Okay, Elkas. Elkas,
Yes.
what are you
I
doing?
I want to pass some like just somebody in sort of in that kind of like what's the word I'm looking for?
Hallway.
Like just sort of like a good working dude and stuff. Would sort of be like, so are we working just our way like through all the bookcases, or are we only just doing this front bit? Like,
Yeah, fair enough. The guy you kind of stopped just goes, yeah, the whole lot, I think, and carries on walking, taking his books down the thing. You've got a chance to say more to him if you want to.
okay, yeah, I'll just keep like walking the books and everything.
Okay,
Just
cool.
take
So you head back up. Vice, you doing anything?
I wanna. Are we just literally? There's no trolley or anything like that. A wheelbarrow.
Nope.
Cool.
No
I'm
wheelbarrows here. You left yours in Moorhen.
Mm.
With the body in it.
Why are you making me remember that?
You're never getting that wheelbarrow back.
I'm never getting him back. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just let me just grab a bunch of books, but I want to kind of keep an eye out for them as I'm
Okay.
grabbing them.
Yeah, roll
It's-
investigation, and for the sake of expediency, why don't the rest of you roll investigation as well for your next wave of gathering books?
All of
Okay.
us.
Yes,
Yeah, all
because you're all
us.
gonna look whilst you try and get
Just
books.
one investigation.
Yeah, just one investigation from everybody.
I'm also want to try and find Vice when I can see him
Okay.
and see if he managed to
So
do a deal with someone.
yeah, as this progresses on, as you guys reach this first sort of half hour, things start to calm down a little bit. Everyone's kind of getting into the flow a little bit. None of you come across the books you're looking for. Vice, can you roll me investigation, please? Unless yours wasn't the 23, wasn't it? Yours
No.
was the
My
perception.
everything. My connection just dropped.
Okay, no worries.
I didn't hear anything you said previously. To be fair,
Okay,
but don't.
so I'm just saying that we're gonna go into a bit of a step-by-step now to skip this whole thing a little bit faster rather than role-playing every single interaction. Unless you want to do anything abnormal. But yeah, assume for the second wave, none of you find the books you're after. You carry on taking the books down. After the... Yeah, that's fine. So Olivia, you can do that. Feel free to talk that out.
Oh, sorry, you were talking. I didn't want to
No,
interrupt
carry
you. Mid-flow. So yeah, I just want to grab Vice and be like, oh, how did you find someone?
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I did. There's a guy here. His name's Levon. He said he'll keep an eye out for the book. I did tell him about spreading the word a little bit, but he did warn me and say there's a few kind of dodgy looking guys around here. He doesn't really feel that.
Okay, we don't want to risk it then. We don't want to risk
Yeah,
people
yeah,
knowing
yeah.
getting grass. Any chance you can go and tell him, look, you've realised that there's another book and you offer him extra 5 plat and ask him about the White Lady? Oh, sorry, Divine Cognition and the White Lady.
It's called what?
Divine Cognition and the White Lady, and I think it will be white, but it will have a gold trim.
Is it Divine Cognition of the White Lady?
Divine Cognition and the White Lady.
Oh, and the White Lady. Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna let Nemea and Elkas know to not let anyone know what we're doing, because I don't
Okay.
wanna.
So you find time over the next kind of 45
and then I'll obviously grab more
minutes
books and stuff and talk to
yeah,
them.
yeah, you're doing this the whole time.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, as things are sort of passing on, people get into a bit of a flow. They stop being as pissy about you guys stopping to talk for a moment, as long as you're sort of generally gathering books or taking them down. You fill about 2 carts. No, about about 2 carts. And a little under 2 carts. And at some point, the leader man that I don't think any of you have the name of yet comes back up with the key and unlocks the next bunch of bookcases. These ones. So, having gone down once more, a few times more, and spoken a little bit in between, why don't you guys all roll investigation again?
Oh my goodness.
So one day we
Nat
all
20,
get to roll
nat
stuff,
20.
Okay, cool.
and we all roll shit. Apart from her, she don't count. Don't say shit like that. He's not gonna let you find
The
it
mayor
now.
shouts that out and immediately gets clobbered by that leader man, who takes the book from her and eats it. That's
Just
all
eats
you, yeah?
it.
Yeah,
Tastes
okay,
good.
cool. So,
Rolls it up and smokes it.
just go on to the next page. Oh, it
I
does a
haven't
little
had
bit.
20 in ages.
So Elkas, you come across a book that seems to be a sort of art book on the best 15 watercolors to paint birds, and that seems to be the only book that
I
rises your
actually
hand.
really like this book, and
So how can we burn this? No.
right,
Oh wait, we don't know about the burning yet, right?
is there a spare
yeah, you know.
moment when nobody is watching me?
Oh my.
You can try and find one.
I just, on the way up the stairs and stuff, I want to do it like so that I can sort of distance myself from anyone.
Yeah, so you kind of hold back a little bit as some people go downstairs. You wait like half a minute and then you go downstairs, leaving yourself somewhat solo as you head down the spiral staircase.
And then I just want to slip the watercolor book into my pouch.
Okay, cool.
Oh my god, he was serious.
Roll sleight of hand for me.
That's fine. I'm okay with this.
I don't think this is one of the ones I would have to give a name. Okay. So you drop the book, having tried to slide it into your sort of side satchel inside your clothing, and as you do, you kind of reach for it, and you kind of claw at the image itself of an open page, and as the book falls down the stairs, you hold in your hand a little robin that was originally in the image and is now live in your hand.
The hell? Eat it!
It's a mage library, guys.
Magic bugs.
I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. I'm gonna I'm just gonna sort of like jut it a little bit so it sort of flies out.
Okay. So you kind of jut it and it flies downwards. And after about like a minute, you hear, "Hey, what the fuck is that?" And then there's some clambering at the bottom of the stairs, and the reddish-haired dwarven fellow, you hear him kind of stop at the base of the stairs and be like, "Fuck's sake!" And then he starts coming up the stairs. You hear him coming up. He kind of catches you halfway through, and he looks at you and he goes, "Oi! Collect the books. Bring the books. Don't fuck with the books. I don't have to kick you out of here myself.
Sorry, I dropped one. I'll be on my way.
Be more
And I'll just
careful."
keep moving.
And he kind of shoulder barges you slightly as he heads up the stairs. Cool. So Vice, you are seeing. You're just going through so many books that you're looking at the black and looking for the black and the red, and kind of you've lost focus on the titles a little bit, and as a result, just skip straight through. Livia.
Yep.
You start reading a book called Gabriella's Gaze, and I need you to make a con save.
Why am I reading a book?
Because you had this book, it fell open slightly, and you felt the need to read it.
Okay. Con.
Yes. Oh, sorry, no, wisdom. Con
Yep,
doesn't make
you said
sense.
Con.
I did say con. I
Wiz
mean
saving.
wisdom. Yes.
Okay.
Because con doesn't make sense for this.
Okay. Next.
The thing I'm referring to just has titles. It doesn't have how these work. So.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you almost immediately catch yourself beginning to read it, and just like you said, you're not really sure why you were trying to read it, and you close the book, and you get the feeling that the magic contained within this book is designed to force you to read it, if you aren't
Careful.
of strong enough mind to withstand it. You gather it with the rest of your books, and head down.
I'm gonna put it in between other books, so I'm not touching it.
That's fine. Nemea, you find a book that has entirely black coverings. The binding is black, and the lettering on the outside is golden and very ornate. The pages themselves are red, and it clearly says on the front, Sanguine Sorcery.
Oh God.
You
Oh
also
my
catch
goodness.
a glimmer of a bunch of more white books at the back of this room, which isn't closed, by the way. It goes on through out the back here. But you notice several more white books at the back of this bookcase that have not yet been unlocked.
Okay. I want to I want to put this book like in my nice big, like, I'm assuming I'm holding books with like both of my hands kind of thing. Pop it in the pile, and then I want to go down the stairs.
As you are starting to gather the books into this pile, I need you to make a dex save. So, as you're making this pile, a relatively young human knocks into you, essentially. Knocks the whole pile sideways. He's very apologetic, and it's just like, oh my god, sorry, we've got so many on the floor now as we've been taking them out of the bookcase. I'm really sorry, let me help you up. And he reaches a hand down to help you up.
Okay. No worries, it's okay.
That when you.
I'm so sorry. He kind of
catches-
brushes off
catches
your
gaze.
shoulders slightly, and he's like, I have to get back to work. Sorry again, and then he heads off. Vice, what are you doing at this point? You're carrying down and coming back up.
Well, I'm looking out for our friend.
Yeah.
On.
So, having just knocked
Okay.
over Nemea, Livorian comes over to you, holding Sanguine Sorcery, because he stole it from you.
Oh, what?
Comes over to you, Vice.
Sorry.
And,
It makes
Fair
sense.
enough. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
he comes over to you and says, Hey,
Hey.
Hey.
So
I-
you
I
found the
got-
book?
I've got what you're after. You got the coin?
Yeah. I got the coin. I want to look around to see if there's any dodgy guards or anything around. Anyone around looking?
There's people in the room, and as a result of that, Livorian's just like, oh yeah, sure, you can take this pile for me, and then hands you like 4 books with Sanguine Sorcery on the top.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. And I'm with holding the platinum in my hand. I take the books and I kind
He
of
takes the
pass
plat
it.
from you.
Yeah.
Have you already
cool.
spoken to him about looking for the other one?
I have not. So before he leaves, I'm like, hey, listen, hey, thanks for that job, man. You did good. I'm looking for one more book though. You think you can have a look for it?
Same price?
For me? Same price. Some price. It's a white book, gold trim. It's called Divine Cognition, and the White Lady.
He kind of looks past you at the back of the room to the left, and you see where he's looking. He's kind of pointing down here-ish.
Okay, yeah.
And he kind of looks past. He just says, "White Lady, I think all the god books are at the back over there. I'll try and get it when
Okay.
they open up. And then he turns, picks up another pile, and heads down the stairs as well.
Good lad. Good lad. All right, cool. I'm going to take the pile of books that I've got and start making my way down these stairs.
Making your way down.
Please. Yeah. But and as I'm walking down, I want to try and pocket the book.
Okay.
Please.
Roll sleight of hand.
Sneaker, sneaker.
Come on. Snicker, snicker.
The niggas.
Snicker, snicker. Where is sleight of hand? Okay, there it is.
Dex, yeah.
Show me potato salad.
Okay. So you have to spend some extra time sort of properly fitting the book amongst your like inner clothing so that it's held there tightly and won't fall out. You kind of shuffle about and you do gather the attention of some of the other workers whilst you're doing this. And as you look back, roll in perception for me. Okay. So as you look back, you see one of the people that was looking at you has just fully seen you do this. But he then does the exact same thing with a different book. Almost looking at you as he does it, and just
Like
slides
daring
it
you.
inside the thing.
Okay.
And then
Okay,
he looks
can I-
away.
Do I get a quick glance at that book?
No.
Ah.
He's at a distance to you. You're not like right next to each other. You're at like the top of the stairs. He's in the room. But he sees you pocket that book, and you see him pocket one.
Okay, cool. What's he look like?
He is. Hang on. He is a half-elf fellow, slightly older, looks to be not as young in his years as some of the rest of them.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all you have.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right, I'm just gonna stare at his eyes as I stand up slowly and step away behind the bookcase.
And then I get out my invisibility cloak with my lantern.
Okay, so I'm going to jump forward a little bit more. We'll go to sort of mid evening.
Oh dear.
Everybody roll investigation for me again as these next selection of thingies is brought forward.
6.
Yeah.
When you 1 more 6, guys.
Sorry, re-rolling another one.
Everybody roll 1 investigation. Yes, Olivia, you're the only one who hasn't.
Come on, get a
Sorry, I
6.
was
Please roll
writing the
good.
recap. I wasn't
That's fine.
ignoring investigation.
So what's the 6?
Okay, cool.
Thank God for that.
So, Livia, you realise, having looked around for a while, that there's quite a sort of build-up of books at the front, and actually it's starting to get to a point now where people are having to slow down and stuff like that because they can't get out as easily. People are taking books off the shelves at the back and just kind of leaving them there a little bit, and after a while you think that actually it might be better if you moved all the books to the front. Not only would that give you more time to search through books and spend time up here rather than taking books down, but you think that it's a good enough idea because you're making the journey shorter that the leader of this convoy might go for it.
Yeah.
So it's up to you what you want to do with that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take a load. I assume he's still downstairs.
He is. He's coming up every now and then and unlocking more bookcases. All of them are unlocked now. He's just on
Okay.
his way back out.
So I'm just gonna say, oh, excuse me.
Hey, where is it?
I was just thinking, because you know how like, we're getting quite a lot of books up here and it's making the whole process a bit slower.
Oh, yeah,
I was thinking
it's a
about
lively lot of books.
potentially splitting into certain teams, or I could come up here and move all the books to the front and then people be doing it in separate trips so that we're trying to get through it a bit quicker.
He kind of looks up out in through one of the high windows in this room and sees that it's pretty much just pitch black outside, much later than he wanted it to be. And he looks back at you and he's just like, take whoever you want and just make sure that all the books get to the front. I'll have the rest run them down. I'll be outside. And he heads off down the stairs. As he's about to head down the spiral staircase, he just shouts back at the rest. He's like, hey, this one's gonna organize something, listen to her. And then he heads downstairs.
And then I'm just sort of gonna grab everyone's attention and be like, guys, I've just noticed that there's a really big backlog of books here, so I'm thinking if we split into separate teams, where one team's going up and down and taking them, and one team's grabbing all the books and bringing them to the front, then maybe we could get through this quicker and we can all get out of here a lot early because it's getting quite late. And then I'm going to point out to my 3 guys and be like, if you guys want to stay and help, we can move all the books to the front, and the rest of you can just do runs up and down the stairs. And if you get tired, then just let us know and we can,
Roll
we can
persuasion.
do swap outs. Persuasion, yeah?
Yep.
16.
Okay. So most people go along with it, but there's a fair number, about 5-ish people of the convoy that realise that your job's the easier one and side with staying. And kind of through like drawing straws a little bit, it's eventually decided who's going down, who's staying up. But it seems like through saying this, nobody gets challenged. There are enough people willing to just go up and down stairs. Chanel's one of them. Happy to sort of do anything. And you manage to get the 4 of you happily kind of just pulling books from the back to the front.
Yeah, I think I would try to say to them and redirect them to the shelves that I've already looked at, the other guys who've stayed up here, and try and bring my guys to the shelves that we haven't looked at yet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So roll persuasion once more.
17.
Okay. Yeah, that goes off relatively easily without a hitch.
Decent.
And maybe for the first time throughout the entire night, the 4 of you are close enough to talk once more and essentially discuss what you want to do.
I'm just going to
Sounds
say to the
good.
guys, like, have you had any luck?
Guys, I'm really sorry. I found Sanguine Sorcery and I lost it in a pile. I got nudged and I couldn't find it, and I'm pretty sure it's still on that shelf. So you could go back over and look.
No, you don't. What? I've got Sanguine Sorcery, and
What? How
I
did
kind
you
of,
get
I
Sanguine
kind of,
Sorcery?
I kind of flash it a little bit.
Oh,
You see in there like a book and a very small skillet that he uses for cooking.
well done. Never mind.
Okay, you know what? Never mind. Look, we'll talk about it later.
Guys,
okay?
we need to find my book.
Anyway, listen.
Okay, yeah, well, let's go.
guys. Okay, listen, guys. I've already found out that the far left, what's it called? Bookshelves. That's the
Right.
holy area. I think that's like the holy religious area. So I've been told that that's probably where the book might be. It's right at the back. I believe it's opened up now. Far left corner. Don't know what you want to do with that information, but
I'd say I'll start helping. I'll start helping
Oh.
to bring the books to the front and everything, and I'll just sort of head over to that back section
Okay.
to start bringing them down.
I'm gonna
Yep.
go with the kind of other random guys that are around and make sure they're not like going up to our guys. So I'll keep them kind of on the further back shelves and getting those ones sorted.
Okay. So when you say back, because the both of you are saying back there, like, do you want to pick?
Yeah, because
for
I
me-
meant like 'cause
I'm-
obviously they're gonna be.
We're going, me and Vice, I think, are going straight to the Blue Cross. I feel like
These
Nemaya's in
guys
front
are
of
gonna
them.
be-
So you guys
like,
are doing the front books, and like
Whereas,
making
like-
it seem like you guys are helping with the push of books to the front, whilst the other 2 of you are heading towards the back to look at the
Yeah.
god books.
Yeah. So
Okay,
we're
cool.
like I'm making sure the other guys don't see what like we're doing basically.
Yep.
Keeping
Okay.
them. So
Cool.
I won't be looking for the book. I'll just be making sure.
That's fine.
that
So
they are-
Nemea and Elkas, roll performance for me.
she's just there putting
Why
books.
performance? I'm literally just helping to move books.
Yeah, but you're trying to do it. I mean, I thought you were trying to do it in a way that kind of keeps people off going past you and getting further back.
Not really like stopping anyone. I'm just sort of helping.
Okay,
take
then
the
don't roll.
book to keep an eye out.
Yeah, it's only me that is. That's me. Like I'm keeping them.
That's fine. I
away.
thought you were both
But-
doing that sort of thing. You kind of described
No,
the same
no,
thing,
just
so no
me.
worries. Okay, so Nemea, you seem to be able to kind of hold that. The one time that people kind of go past you, you let one guy past you a few feet, and then you just pass him some books, and he immediately turns, taking the books from you, and carries on down the front. And after a sort of 10-15 minutes, it becomes a bit apparent that you're kind of back of the chain, passing books down this conveyor belt of people getting the books to the front as quickly as possible, as all the runners are taking the rest of them down. Everybody roll perception for me at this point. Actually, do you know what? Don't bother. I'm going to use passive perceptions because I barely use it. Elkas and
Oh, I'll
Livia.
take that. Mine's 20.
Yeah. Elkas and Livia, you guys start to see fewer people coming up. People are still coming up. It's just slowed slightly. Actually, no, Livia, you don't, because you're not in a position to see that from behind this bookcase. Elkas is the only one that would. So Elkas, you just see a sort of slow in the runners. Maybe they're taking a break. You're not really sure.
Okay.
Livia and Vice, roll investigation for me, please. It's been a roll-heavy session so far.
No, you're killing me.
Oh, 10.
Okay.
Ugh,
What's wrong?
I forgot to put the R.
Oh. Okay, cool. So it takes you guys another kind of 20 minutes, longer than what you were sort of going for. And fortunately, rather, Nemea's display of setting up this conveyor belt has led to basically nobody being this far back in the room. You, as a result, do eventually come by Divine Cognition and the White Lady.
Oh, thank you.
So, what
I'm gonna put it on Vice's bum.
it.
I'm not really. I'm not.
You just spike it
blasphemy.
like, boom, campaign done, 3 points.
Yep.
Alright.
Alright, so it is now
Awesome.
in your
Roll the
inventory,
credits.
Livia.
That's it. Fuck my wife.
Can I get Vice to cover me while I put it in a satchel or behind my chest, wherever I would?
Yeah,
put
are
it
you
to-
gonna read it?
Wherever you want to pull it. Okay,
Not
cool.
on my bum.
I will, I'll kind of stand here and just kind of fuck around with
I want
books.
to delete this handout. Edit. There it is, delete handout.
Divine cognition.
So yeah, it's do you want to read it? You don't have to now, but if you want to, the option's there. Vice is keeping a bit of a lookout.
No, I think out of not being stupid and pushing my luck, I just want to, as quickly as possible, put it in a safe place where no one is going to find it, and I can get it out of here.
Okay, cool.
By the way, did I see Levoran? Is it Levoran? Levoran?
Livoran.
Lavoran.
Levoran? Did I see him rob?
No.
No,
You
okay.
heard a clash of books and
Could have been.
Okay.
people.
Okay. Cool. Does Livia know what Levoran looks like?
Have you described him to her?
I
Livia
have
has seen
not,
everyone by this
because-
point.
No, I didn't even take I didn't even get a description of the guy. I just got his name.
Yeah, but you don't need one. He's a human. He's
Okay, that's fine.
youngish. Like, if you want to describe what he looks like to Livia, you can just say, I describe what he looks like to
Okay.
Livia.
Okay, never mind. That's fine. It's fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Elkas, again, you start to notice fewer people come up. It gets to a point now where you see a bunch of people grab a bunch of books and head down, kind of hazy looked on their face, and some of the people that were helping you move the books head down as well. And about another kind of 5-10 minutes passes before about 20 Kingsguard comes up into the room, and you can see them with the convoy leader, the dwarven fellow, seemingly having some sort of argument at the front. You're not really sure what any of this means. You're at a bit of a distance. I would say this hallway is probably about 200 feet in length. What are you guys doing?
Can we not try and
Carrying a big pile of books.
Yeah, can we not just carry the books, carry on as if
Yeah.
everything
Well,
we're
you
gonna
guys
do?
haven't
nothing
massively
on.
seen this. It's only Elkas that has seen this so far. Let me just kill the music.
I want to.
I just
carry
want to
the
clarify. As
books
soon as I'd have
and-
like put my book in my satchel or like hidden it under my arm or whatever, then I'd have just gone. But like we don't need to be searching anymore, so we'd have gone back
Yeah.
to.
Or we could just go back to
Okay, well
get.
this happens
moving the
before
books.
you get a chance to, and I need you to roll sleight of hand to see how well you hide it as well. Okay,
Yes!
perfect. So it's well
Oh,
hidden amidst your
hey.
person.
I was saying that in my head. I didn't want to say it out loud.
So you
The
know
whole
I
time
jinxed that
saying
shit.
So Elkas, you are seeing a large accompaniment of Kingsguard come up the stairs now. They seem to be having some sort of argument with the dwarf out the front. You see this before anyone else. It's at about this time that Livia is thinking to return to the front. What do you want to do?
I'm taking books down, acting as normal, just doing the job, but I want to like not be like looking at them or anything. I just want to keep an ear out, see if I can hear what they're saying.
Okay.
The argument is being hurried up.
Yeah, so as you head close to the front, this red-headed dwarven fellow looks at you and is just like, leave them here, lad. Just head down. There's a bit of a problem.
Oh, okay. And I'll just sort of like do a sort of little wave and then just head down.
Okay. You pass the collective sort of 10-ish Kingsguard that have come up here, and there's another 10 downstairs. As you get to the bottom of the stairs, there's a large selection of every other convoy worker, and another 10 Kingsguard are blocking you all in, so that you're essentially gathered around the base of the spiral staircase. Nemea, Livia, and Vice, are you doing anything other than walking books up to the front at this point? You have seen Elkas. Well, I'll tell you what. Roll investigation. Or perception, your choice. Okay.
Perception, yeah. Okay.
Yep. Perception
Just
or
get-
investigation, your choice.
Yeah. I didn't see shit. I'm trying to hide. Like,
10.
Okay. So Nemea, trying to stay out of it a little bit, you are carrying books and you walk up to the front. As you're getting close, they see you come in from a mile off. You're walking straight down the middle with a pile of books. And one of the Kingsguard actually... Say that again?
Just saying big purple head.
Yeah.
my big purple face.
You're not discreet.
Hello.
One of the Kingsguard steps forwards and just says, "Leave the books down, miss. We've had word that some have gone missing amidst this group. There'll be a full search. Head downstairs."
Oh yeah, totally. There's nothing on me, and I'll just walk downstairs.
Okay. Vice,
Do I hear this?
Do I hear this?
you do, but you've both already rolled, so let me tell you what happens. Vice, you get kind of close enough to be seen, but they are kind of letting everyone slowly gather. It seems as though the implication is that there's no like escaping or anything anyway. They'll check people downstairs. Right now they're just leaving all the books up here and gathering everyone. Do you want to do
Okay.
anything specific? You have been seen by the like wall of Kingsguard.
I've been seen, so no matter what I do, they will see.
They can already see you in the sort of open middle section of this cathedral style room, this library.
Okay. But am I walking? Sorry, can you just explain?
So let me just change it on the map. Hang on. So Nemea's gone downstairs. Elkas is downstairs. Let's see if I can get rid of this line without. Nope, I can't. But I can do that. So you are the pink one. Yeah, I thought that would break that somewhat. Hang on. Let me just do this and this and this. And da 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 da. If you draw an X in one motion, then it's one piece and moves as one thing. So this is you for this purpose. I could use tokens, but here we are.
Okay.
And
cool.
you are going this way.
That way. Okay, cool. And where are the guards from there?
They are.
All in a big circle.
It can be blood coloured. They are sort of here.
The colour
Okay.
of blood and death.
7, 8, 9,
Bloody hell.
10.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to say yeah, just 1 second. I'm carrying books, right?
You have sanguine sorcery on you, yes. Well,
No,
you're
I'm
carrying
carrying
books,
books.
and you also have sanguine
Okay.
sorcery.
I am carrying
stowed.
books, yeah.
You are carrying physical
yeah.
books, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, just 1 second, and then I'm just going to like fall over behind.
To the side. Okay.
To the side, yeah. Yeah, I want to fall over and I want to take the book out and pull it up on the shelf.
Okay, cool. So roll persuasion for me, or performance, your choice.
Way to look
Actually,
suspicious.
no, it's not really persuasion. To be fair, I'll make it deception or performance, your choice, because you are lying in what you're doing.
There you go.
There you go. So you fall over to the side,
Wow.
and you see
Yeah.
as you start to fall, you see one of the guards like immediately kind of grab his halberd and step towards you, and then he kind of hears you clatter, and just you hear him slightly laugh to himself, and he doesn't even bother coming over to you. You stow
Sweet.
sanguine sorcery on the shelf, and you head off down. Livia, you feel incredibly confident in the fact that you have stowed on your nat 20, that you have stowed divine cognition and the white lady about your person, but you're uncertain as to the like extremes that this supposed search is going to go to. What do you want to do?
Oh, so I've come out of it now.
You haven't come out. You're still in the room. You're at the back of the room, last to leave.
He was
So
just
that-
redrawing your ex.
I want. How long will it take me to take it back out and put it back on the shelf?
Seconds.
You got
Can
an
they?
though.
Huh?
We're
Yeah,
not
but
here.
like,
Fine.
fuck the nat 20. Like RP wise, like how confident am I? Like it.
I just
I don't
said
even know.
you're confident you've hidden it, but you don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I'm confident I'm hidden it, but I don't have a clue how they're going to search me.
Yeah. You also don't know that they've massively seen you at this point because you haven't really seen them. You've just heard it, and you know, you've heard voices of people that you don't recognise. You've heard them specifically say that they're about to search people downstairs. Take a moment if you need a moment, but you need to decide what you want to do. The rest of you, as you get downstairs, you are in front of the remaining 10 Kingsguard. They are not joined by the two out the front watching the door, and you can see a hallway that leads a different direction that has a large wooden door that seems to be closed. You're not sure if it's locked or not. And they begin to search some of the convoy workers. One of them, they sort of just get him to stretch his arms out. They pat him down. They look inside his pockets and stuff like that, open out his cloak slightly, but he's relatively lightly dressed. He doesn't seem to be stowing anything. They move on to the next one. And he just reaches inside his clothing and passes them a book. I really shouldn't have closed this. Bear with me one moment. I think it was 30 something, 34. Okay, so he passes them a book that none of you recognise. The guard opens the book and just stares at it. He just seems to be reading it indefinitely. And then the rest, after a while, kind of tap him and are like, "What are you doing?" And they like shove him, and he's just not responding. He turns a page and is just not even blinking, just staring at this book. It's
Is it that book again?
pretty much. After a while, one of them takes their sword and kind of smacks the book out of his hands with the butt of the sword, and then sheathes it again. And the guy just looks up like, and then looks back at the guy and is like, "You So you don't have anything?" And then he goes like, "What? No, no, I didn't have anything." And then the remaining guards just look at him like he had that, and he looks back at them like, I don't know what happened." And they start having a bit of a conversation between themselves. Suspicions are confirmed amongst the guards from what the three of you can tell. It seems that this well, let's go back to Livia before I say too much more. Livia, what are you doing?
Can they see me from where I am?
No, they have not seen you yet.
I want to put the book back on the shelf,
Okay.
but stay where I am. And I want to. I've got the feet observant, so for me, I feel like I'm quite good at noticing what's going on around and hearing things. So I want to stay where I am, and then if I feel like people are coming up towards this end, then start taking books off the shelf and putting them on piles on the floor.
Okay. Well, you can tell that after this time spent downstairs that they are starting to move throughout this room. And you can hear the footsteps of them seemingly searching around this room for anyone that might have gone missing. So they are starting to move towards you.
They are starting to search.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll put it back on the shelf, but I'm gonna put it in like as top awkward place as I can. Like it's not gonna be the first book that someone's gonna grab, basically.
Okay. Cool. So downstairs, it seems that they've kind of confirmed their suspicions that for whatever reason, this group brought in to collect these books have taken it upon themselves to attempt to steal as many of them as possible. Not all of them, but unfortunately they are beginning to arrest people without any kind of like discrimination. Doesn't matter whether you had a book or not, they're taking you in. So they start to put everybody in chains, cuffs essentially, and they start to line them up against the wall, and they're chaining people together because it's going to be a bit of a walk from here to the garrison because they won't keep you in the palace. The three of you are close enough to be included in this. Why don't you three roll initiative for me?
Oh no.
Aye. 13.
20. Not 20. Bloody hell. Going on. These are all my good rolls now, guys.
Okay, so
Um,
Nemea, you're first. They come and attempt to put cuffs on you. Do you stop them in any way? Are you doing anything?
No, I'll just say there'll be no trouble for me, and I put my hands out for them to chain me.
Okay, they cuff you. Elkas, you're kind of 7 or 8 people down the line. Are you doing anything?
I just kind of sigh, just look a bit like, oh, I just wanted to do my job, and just sort of place my hands out.
Okay. Cool. And then
Yeah.
Vice, as they sort of scramble about doing this, you're kind of left on the end of the chain a little bit. You start to notice that at the base of the stairs, because they've all been collectively cuffing people and taking them to the wall, you kind of have an opportunity with doing so well on your initiative roll to maybe potentially go back up the stairs a little bit. Because there were no guards on the stairs. They were at the top and they were at the bottom.
Yeah.
Do you want to do anything with that?
Yeah. I want to go up the stairs.
Okay, so you head back halfway up the stairs. You can hear the conversations of the people above and how they're talking about searching the room, and that two people from the convoy are missing, and you're just there on the middle of the stairs.
Okay. Oh, okay. I don't know what to do with this. I don't think I can really do anything. Can I carry on going back up? And actually, I don't want to draw attention to Livia. I really don't want to. I feel like if I go back up there and try and look for her, I'm gonna bring in some shit to her. Is it? Yeah. Can I go up there and see if there's somewhere I can hide? Actually, no. But they're looking for 2 people.
They've mentioned that 2 people are missing, and that's why they're searching the room. 2 people from the convoy.
Okay. Okay. Can I just not just wait and see what happens?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
One sec. I'm just trying to explain the situation in detail to Sevi because she's in a position here where she's going to make some choices that I think are going to affect things, and I want her to understand fully what's happening. Because obviously last session there was a lot of confusion. I'm just trying to paint the picture exactly as I intend it, over text, which isn't a perfect description. So, Vice, you've headed most of the way back up the stairway. Did you want to try and see what you can see, or are you just holding off at this point?
Well, yeah, I might as well.
Okay. So roll perception or investigation for me. I thought you nat 1 then, but that was Nemea's roll. Okay, cool. So you can see from, if you kind of angle round the stairs, you can see the base of the doorway. Almost all the guards have moved out at this point and are searching the room. There's 10 of them. They're kind of spread out in a moving semicircle, if that makes sense. The only guy close enough to the door now to notice anything is the red-haired dwarf running the convoy.
Okay. All right.
You don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but if you want
Yeah.
to,
So he's the closest person to me. Yeah. Is that what you're
yes,
saying?
the rest of the people in this room seem to be Kingsguard and are searching the room.
Okay. No, I'll just wait.
Okay, cool. Sevi, I know your mic's broken, but you might want to move it slightly if you can, just to stop the breathing.
Sorry.
So that it's on the stream rather than just in text. To make it very clear to you, Livia, you've got a okay amount of time. As I mentioned, it's a relatively sizable book. It's probably a couple hundred pages, but you do have a scrap of a page, and you know from conversations with that we've had in previous sessions that whilst there are means to duplicate books, it's generally not done. There's no widely accepted printing press. Chances are, if a book is magic in any nature, or talks of specific magics that would be relevant to mages and the like, and potentially would be kept in this kind of library, they are probably single prints. Nobody's making a book of watercolor birds where the birds come to life if you take them out of the picture 1,000 times. That's kind of a one-off. And that is the case with, well, put it this way, you haven't come across two books by the same name the entire time you've been clearing out this library.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't think there were multiples anyway. I want to try and scan. I want to scan through the book and see if I can find the page with
Okay,
the missing
cool.
piece that I've got.
So given that you have the actual piece, why don't you roll perception or investigation for me with advantage? So you know exactly what you're looking for.
16.
Okay, cool. So it takes you a little bit of time. I would say that at this point, Vice, roll stealth for me, please. And I'm going to roll a couple of perception checks. Okay. You don't need to roll too highly. Oh, but a 13 is... Well, no, 13 is what you needed, so you meet the DC, so that's fine. So one of the Kingsguard does look back at the doorway at one point, and you just duck back round. They don't see you. Livia, over this time, that Kingsguard that looked back at the doorway but saw nothing starts to make his way back over to the doorway and gather with some of the other Kingsguard that haven't found anyone yet. You then start to hear talk of them kind of shouting at two people, and you notice that whilst the convoy was predominantly men, there were a couple women. And through the next kind of 5 to 10 minutes of conversation, because you guys, well, at least two of you were not included in the planned number of the convoy, the two that they're looking for are a man and a woman that are making out in a corner of this library rather than doing any work, and have been sort of up here hiding themselves whilst the rest of this has been going on. The Kingsguard shouts at them, and sort of being roused from the fact that they were kind of hiding away in this corner and getting off with each other, he explains to them what the hell's going on, and they sort of like get up, dust themselves off a little bit, like tie up some strings and whatnot, and are sent downstairs. And you hear the Kingsguard have a conversation down the front. Vice, you hear this as well, of them basically saying it was just a couple of idiot lovers, I guess would be an easiest way to describe it. That makes the full 16. Finish searching the room and let's get out of here. They then start to head back down. Some of them start to head back down the stairs. Vice, what are you doing at this point?
They're heading back down the stairs.
Yeah, so like 3 or 4 of them are going to come downstairs at this point, having found the last two. The two pass you on the stairs, and don't say anything. They just look at you oddly.
Okay. No, I'm just not going to say anything.
Okay.
I don't want to cause any problems, man.
That's fine.
Anything I say tends to fuck things up.
So, Livia, whilst this entire thing happens, you do manage to get the time to search the book, and you find a ripped page. And it seems that this extract of the book is... Well, this page specifically is the page that it seems your piece was torn from. It lines up perfectly, and after this one page, it then goes on to describe in detail the nature of the first page's description, which I'll give you in a moment. Do you want to take this page? Do you want to leave it in the book? Are you doing anything with it outside of reading it? Because you're going to get to read it either way.
Given that it's already ripped, I was going... Well, as long as it doesn't seem like it's going to make a ridiculous noise and faff, I was going to try and...
Doesn't make that loud a noise.
Yeah, I was going to try and take it,
Okay.
and then put it, well, in modern day language, put it in my bra. But
Okay, cool. Those exist in D&D world.
I
Okay,
don't know if they're called
so
bras, but sure.
it's your brassiere, bra,
Yeah.
whatever. It's fine. Okay, so you get the chance to read the page, and this is what it says. The top of the page is marked Origins of the Dawnstone. The entire book is called Divine Cognition and the White Lady, and this is what the page says. I think you should all be able to see it on Roll20 currently. It says,
Yep.
though the gods rarely interact with the trials of men, their attention can be brought through feats can be bought through feats, unlike anything that has taken place before. The Soul Maker, which you know to be a southern colloquialism for Arella, greets all as they enter the world through her divine favour, but she possesses more than just the power of life amidst the gifts she may bestow. Unlike her brethren, as the goddess of life, the White Lady has the power to create a god from what was once a mere mortal. However, the will of mankind is lackluster, and not able to accept such a gift, unless first proven through trials that would mark one as worthy, and always at the behest of Arella herself. No man would attain such power. Until Lunari Arcanix, a mage the likes of which no realm had met before, bargained with Arella and sought to obtain her most prized bounty. You probably all know, but definitely Livia, as a follower of Arella and a follower of the gods, you're well aware of the fact that Lunari is recognised as the god of the arcane, and it seems to be, given the tale of Lunari himself and the tale that Baal the Herald told you in the Pint and Teller, the story of Lunari, the mage god. This seems to be his tale, and in specifics, the exact way in which he managed to become a god. So it goes on to say, amongst many of the trials Lunari faced was that of creating his masterpiece. As one who had created many items of import in the past, before he could ascend, Lunari would have to close this part of his mortal life with a finale, the culmination of which was the creation of the Dawnstone, which upon inspection was marked by Arella to signify Lunari's success in this endeavour. Upon ascension, all mortal ties were cut from the mage god. Knowing this, Lunari created the stone in such a way that its power would be too chaotic to turn the tide for any faction of man for too long. So essentially, Lunari's masterpiece was crafted in such a way that if anyone were to wield its power, it would be chaotic enough that they would not be able to benefit continuously from it. It doesn't specifically explain how he managed that at this point. Upon its use, the stone would teleport randomly throughout the mortal realm, offering no subsequent wielder its boon lest they held the knowledge of how it arrived. I didn't realise that I put the description in straight afterwards, but there we go. Intrigued by the creation which had become talk amongst the gods, Seraph, who you know to be the god of time, peered into the eventual use of the stone amidst men, and foresaw the prophecy that lay before him. And then this is the piece of the book that you already had. When the Keeper, the Follower, the Veiled, the Wanderer, and the Chosen unite, they will hold all they need to join the gods. You then read through the next couple pages whilst you have a moment. Would you say that you are probably putting more attention into doing this discreetly, or more attention into learning as much as you can?
Learning as much as I can.
Okay, cool. So, roll. Well, I'll tell you what. Livia, you're the only one who's read this, despite the fact that I've said it in the group chat and the others can hear it. What is your understanding of the page so far?
I mean, I've closed it. I really shouldn't have because I use my
It's in your
brain works for
inventory.
reference. Is it?
Yeah, it's replaced your
Or,
ripped
oh,
page.
okay. Yeah, there we go. That's why I was looking for the original. Oh, it's maximized it weird. So I get all the bit about Lunari and him becoming
A god.
ascending. Like I knew all that. I knew the basis of that anyway. I never knew about the Dawnstone. Although what it has done is made me realise that it quite possibly could be the stone that Vice has,
Okay.
because I'm pretty sure it has the symbol of Arella within it. And given that a few times it pulsed of energy that no one could understand, it sounds familiar. And given that I feel like I've definitely been led on a path, and I feel like I've been given signs that I'm going the right way to finding out information, and all these things have aligned, me drawing that conclusion makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. I'm not too sure about the Keeper, the Follower, the Veiled, and the Wanderer, and the Chosen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5. There's 4 of us. I'm not big-headed enough to be like, oh, that must be about us. But given that I'm the one finding the information and think the stone might be linked, I'm thinking it potentially could be us and maybe be something to do with Vice's wife. But honestly, I'm not too sure. That's where it gets a bit vague for me.
Cool. So as you're reading some of the subsequent pages that essentially go into the details of almost everything you've said. So not that what you've said is just simply written in the book, but you read a few more pages and they kind of confirm your thinking a little bit. I'm not going to say whether or not you are right. That's for you guys to find out in time. However, it's at this point that the book is snatched from you, having put that one page in your bra. Like buried it underneath your armor. It took you a while to kind of slink your arm down there because you're wearing tight armor. But you managed to get that page, and the book is taken from you at this point. And a guard grabs you by the arm, pulls you to your feet. Vice, several more guards grab you on the way down to the stairs. One of them kind of elbows you and is just like, stop fucking around, wasting time. And they drag you downstairs. Livia, do you do anything in terms of resisting or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I
So-
still have a tabard that says that like shows that I'm a follower of Varela, right?
Yes, you do.
I'm just gonna sort of look at him and shrug and be like, "I'm sorry. I just wanted to read something about her."
Okay, so the guy looks at the book. He's holding it now. He kind of looks at the front. He looks at the back, and he's just like, "Well, this one's important, is it?"
It's not important. It's about her.
It can go with
and-
the rest. And he drags you down the hallway, meets up with the remaining 5 or 6 guards that are here, and eventually takes you down to the base, where it's explained that everybody is being arrested under the charges of stealing from the mage library within the palace. There are some mentions of the word treason, because the implication is that stealing from the king would be treason. And essentially they then drag you, having put these cuffs on all of you, they drag you over to a garrison, which I'm just going to check where it would be. Let me just go back to the...
Can I say at some point, not in an aggressive fashion, but
Yep.
in a how can you what's the word? Do us is what I'm thinking, but that's not the right way of saying it.
How can you
Punish?
arrest us for...
How can you arrest us for something if we haven't done anything? I understand if you've caught us stealing something, but for those of us that haven't stolen anything and you can see that, surely this is unnecessary.
You all came in together, you're all guilty of the same crime and will be tried together. And then they just kind of shove you forward whilst you're trying to have this conversation. You're walking with the remainder of the men. Does anybody want to do anything on the walk back to the market square, off to the other side, a portion of the market square that you guys haven't massively been to before, where eventually you can see a large stone building that seems reminiscent of some sort of guards garrison or stronghold? Is anybody trying to do anything?
No, there's nothing I really can do right now.
We're walking, right?
You are walking, yes. You're also still
Are we-
using the same character sheets that you had after the fight with Adir.
Yes.
You have whatever health and slots you had before. Bar
Yeah,
Cassie's
nothing.
short rested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it dark?
hence-
It is pitch black, yeah. It's about, well, it's almost the next day, to put it easily.
Yeah. Okay. Are we walking near like any like alleyways?
They're taking you
Or
down the main roads, but there are alleyways nearby.
Shooting off.
You're also chained together, though. You're chained to the 16... Sorry, the
Yes.
14 other people that make up the convoy.
Yeah, but I do have a spell that I could attempt.
Okay.
I'm just wondering whether or not I should do that.
It's up to you.
Does it
If
get
you want to
me-
try and whisper to the group, you are not a million miles away from Elcas, but you are quite far from Livia and Vice as a result of how you rolled in terms of where you were chained in this, well, in this convoy.
Mhm. Okay, no, I'm gonna leave it for now. Actually, I want to
Okay.
wait for a better.
Anybody else doing anything?
Thunder wave. I'm joking.
That's the entire convoy.
Who? I'm just gonna. I'm
Max,
very
I'm
aware that we're
damaged.
surrounded by many people and people can hear us.
Yeah,
and
you have
stuff.
an escort of about. They didn't all come, but you have an escort of about 14 King's Guard. But you're also starting. After a couple hours of walking, you have reached the market square where Arelueva is still in full flow, and there is a fair amount of just standard guard that are assisting the King's Guard in this endeavour as they see you approach. You would have had a little bit of time before then if you wanted to try something. It's up to you.
I don't want to try anything. I just want to whisper to Vice.
Okay, you're close to Vice, but not the others.
I just want to whisper to him. I can't go into detail, but don't let them get your stone.
Say what? Okay.
I
Yeah.
can't go into it now. Just keep it safe.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I can reach it from with my hands all tied up, but yeah, sure. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
There's no way I can lift my arms or anything like that. Or
Well, you can lift them. You're kind
I mean,
of
I don't know
chained
where
in a
you
way
keep
that
it. You
there's
might
a bit
keep
of a
it on a
Mexican
chain
way.
or.
Well, it's
in a-
kept in.
I don't know.
It's
I
in like a
do.
bag, like on the inner portions of his garments, I would say. Like
Mhm.
probably tied to
So
your
is-
waist, but a little bit inside.
Yeah.
Sounds dodgy.
Well,
Mumble
is that
shop.
where I kept it?
I'm just implying that if
Oh.
it, like, for example, they're going to probably take weapons off us and stuff when we go in. They're going to, what's the word?
Yeah. Strip us down.
Not quite that far. I don't think they're going to put us in our underwear, but I definitely think they're going to take like our bags and our weapons off us. So if
Okay.
it's on your person, I
Well,
imagine you'll
it's
be
on- it's
okay.
on- it's
but if
on
it's
me,
not,
yeah.
then
No,
maybe
it's on
not.
me. It's on
Okay.
me. Yeah.
There you go. But that's our assumptions.
Okay.
So.
So you guys have this conversation. You are joined by a number of other people being ferried to the garrison, and it becomes apparent that as you move around the edge of Arelueva, the main festival section of this carnival thing, that anyone that's it just becomes apparent that as everyone's gotten drunker and drunker, more and more offshoots of people getting arrested is becoming more and more common, and as a result there's a heavy flow of guards making their way to the garrison and back. It seems like this is very much overtime, like this is, match day, and all of the hooligans have gone straight to the pub afterwards. Like, plenty of people are getting shoved into paddy wagons and taken down to the nearest police station, to put it that way. So whilst you guys are a bit of a spectacle, all chained together and seemingly tied to the same crime, the guards are very busy. You don't see any other King's Guard in this area. It's not their role to, govern your everyday citizen in Stalvin. But they eventually take you into the garrison, down into the cells, not unlike the stronghold that you were in Aegis. And much like you have been, I think, twice before now, you guys are taken into cells. In the
Only
one
once for me.
yeah. In the one that you're thrown into, they kind of gather up the more heavily armored, which happens to be the four of you, like the more well-equipped. They don't actually particularly take anything from you outside of your weapons. They don't take your bags, they don't search your stuff or anything like that. But there is a moment where they open the cell door, wait, and then push you all in. And then they close the cell door once more, they wait again, and everybody roll Arcana.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Are you kidding me? We left the books.
It's gonna be a fucking magical wall. Bastards.
Arcana.
20, but not nat.
Okay.
Is that a plus or is that a
Well,
minus?
Not nat 20.
Nat 20.
Okay.
Oh my god!
Damn it.
It is Christmas today.
Okay, so Nemea, much like Elkas theorized, you can tell that there is very much a magical force that runs in parallel to the cell walls. The cells themselves are all stone, no windows, and on one opening, bars. About 4 to 5-ish inches wide. But you can see a kind of flicker of purple between the bars. You're not too sure what it is. Livia, this seems to be some sort of anti-magic field.
Where is the magic field exactly?
In
Sorry,
line
is it
with
on
the
the
bars.
bars?
Can you draw the prison? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh,
Yes, basically we
I
can't do
just
any
wanna-
magic through the bars or on the bars.
Yeah,
So-
no, I just want to know what everything looks like.
The wall you guys are in, we'll put you in this one. Hang on.
Are we in a cell together or?
You are all in a cell together. There is also one other woman in here.
How convenient.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
gonna I'm gonna say to the other guys, provided there's not like a guard standing in front of us.
No, they seem to be quite busy. They have thrown you guys in, having taken your weapons. They've bunched up your weapons on a table nearby. I'll draw the whole room. Hang on.
I'll
So
whisper
what, is it just
to
one
these
line
guys
of-
and be like, guys, there's a anti-magic field across those bars. Nothing's getting through that.
That's not ideal.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, we need
Just
to.
weighing my options and everything, I just sort of sigh and then I sit up against the one. I'm like, let's get some rest then.
To be fair, we do need to get some rest. Like it's been forever.
Trance.
It's quite
sleep.
late in
fair,
the day
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Like
Well, you said it was nearly the next morning, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's easily late enough for you guys to feel like you need to sleep. So there
It's
are.
like the table.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
that's what I'm going for roughly.
It's like a big
Oh,
hacksaw.
shit. Okay, well you draw only brown lines, mister.
Well
God,
then.
it's impossible to draw a barrel in this situation. That's a barrel.
Yeah.
It's looking more like a wheel, but that'll do.
Yeah.
Um,
We know what it is. It's fine.
yeah, cool.
Wow, I love that large brown clock in the corner.
It's so now.
okay.
It's a big brown clock on the on the floor itself.
It's on the
not
floor
even
facing
wall.
upwards, yeah. It's for people to stand up over their desk and check the time by looking downwards.
Yes.
Very convenient.
It's for
Okay, so you guys are in your cell with this one other woman. Let me just find a description of her because you would be able to see her. She is wearing relatively ornate clothes, not armored, but very well dressed. She looks to be wearing pretty expensive stuff. She has ears that are indicative of a elf.
Where is she from where we are?
She's just in the cell with you, sitting against the wall.
Oh, she's in. Okay.
I don't think I've put her race anywhere. Hang on.
Which cell are we in again?
Maybe I can get it off her age. Nope. I will put that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a half-elf. I did put it down, but in an obscure manner that's not very useful to me because apparently old Josh hates future Josh. You guys are in this cell. And there is a whole bunch of rabble in every other cell. Everywhere. The cells are full of people.
So, has the boss been arrested or is he exempt?
Haven't seen him. He was you specifically haven't seen him. You were quite close to the front. You could ask the group. In fact, you guys are in a position now to basically ask whatever you want. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I'm sleepy and everything, so I'm just going straight into my trance sleep.
Okay.
Just in the corner.
Man, what the hell, man? How the hell did this even happen? Seriously? The thing is, I saw one other guy that was stealing a book. Some elf guy, old man looking.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I saw him, so it might have been him getting caught. I don't know. But we've left the books. We've left the books, guy. As far as I'm aware, anyway. I left my book there.
Yep.
Yep.
You-
I'm sorry, guys.
We have no books, but I did get a chance to have a read,
All right.
and
Well-
I'm gonna be like, cover me.
Cover you? Okay.
I don't want to be
Um,
super obvious. And then like I'll get them to
I
stand in
just
front of
lift
me.
up my lift up.
It opens his cloak.
Like, boom.
It looks like you're streaking from the other side.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna get out a piece of paper and pass it to them to read around and keep it, but at the same time keep an eye out for guards.
Okay.
Big sack.
Big sack.
It's on a map.
So,
And then as soon as they're done, I want it back and put it back.
no worries. Roll sleight of hand for me, Livia. Elkas isn't paying attention to any of this. He's gone to sleep.
Yeah, sleepy time.
You see this woman just sort of quizzically looking at your group, by the way. She hasn't said anything as yet. Okay. So you manage to draw the page, Livia, and show them, but they don't get to read very far before Vice clocks a guard coming this way, and you quickly stuff it back inside your clothing.
Okay.
They read like the first paragraph. It just looks like a nice story that seems to have something to do with Arella, from what they can tell.
Okay, so for the sake of expediency, I'm just going to reiterate basically what it says
Okay.
and explain about how Lunari made a stone that has power that sort of can't be tamed or used for too long. That's sort of derived from Arella, and that there's a prophecy essentially that that a group of 5, or so it seems to be, will have something to link them to the gods or something in that fashion.
Wait a minute. Wait. Are you serious? Is that what it said in the book?
I tried to get.
I mean, I know you did, but like,
I'm telling you, look, it describes
me
this stone and it says
that-
something. I swear it says something about like, oh god, one minute.
you're not talking about this stone, are you?
I don't
Is that
know.
what-
I don't know. But it's called the Dawn Stone, and it was marked by Arella. You have a stone which has the mark of Arella in the middle of it, and these guys felt a big burst of energy, you know, and they couldn't figure out what that big pulse of magic was. Don't understand what's happening.
Oh my god!
That shit close.
Okay. And I just fall back against the wall to take a second, and like, I'm trying to like take it in. Like, wait.
And then I'm going to say to them, I'm going to be like, it listed 5 people. It said the Keeper, the Follower, the Veiled, the Wanderer, and the Chosen. Who the hell are they?
Okay. Do you think it's talking about us?
I don't know. There's only 4 of us.
Well,
But who gave you that stone? Wasn't it Fina?
It was.
She's definitely involved in all this. Like, we know she's around. We know she's with the Heart of the Water. And by the way, it's called the Dawn Stone. Don't think I haven't picked up on that little thread.
Mm.
It all just seems a bit. She had the stone. Why did she?
Okay, I don't know.
The Keeper
If you,
is keeping the stone. Maybe she's. I don't
I
know.
thought I was the Wanderer.
Why are you the Wanderer?
Because I've travelled from place to place.
I just love the way you say it. Cause I wander.
I mean, you saying I'm the keeper makes so much more sense.
What, the one that's been keeping the stone? No! Oh god.
Okay.
The veiled? The veiled. Like,
The
I don't know.
veil.
Maybe
The veil?
that's the veiled? I don't know, is there something about a veil with that sounds godly? Nemea, does that ring anything to
Nemea,
you?
do you
The
think
veiled?
that's-
Are
because
you
she's wearing a
veiled?
hood? Is she wearing a hood all the time?
Not that kind of veiled.
Guys, I'm exhausted. Can we talk about this morning?
It is the morning!
I mean, this is some serious. This is serious, Nemea.
Can I
This is
just
exactly
Oh, go
what
to
I'm serious.
You just want to cut up next to your man over there, right?
No, wait. I wanna
We're not
I
on the
wanna sit
streets.
down to the elven lady.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
What do
And
you
I
want
wanna
to say to her?
her,
well, that
say to
changes
her,
everything.
I wanna say to her, hey, you don't have anything soft I could lay my head on, do you? It's been a really long couple of days. And see if she doesn't just lap.
She
wouldn't
she
do
looks at you she looks at you in a way that she's confused as to
Yeah,
why
like,
she
oh,
knows you, but she can't place it. And she says to you in a very sort of posh, upmarkety tone that I won't be able to do. I'm afraid not, dear. Not more than stone and bars here.
Do you know her?
I know who it is, I do, but I can't say anything. I know who it is. No, I know who it is. I'm
Right.
literally-
Okay. So you
What's going on?
yourselves and say nothing, even though you're both asleep. Brilliant.
Okay.
Rubbish.
Excuse me. Ma'am. Just talking.
Ma'am.
I don't know what to say to this woman, ma'am, lady. I don't want to be rude and say lady. Excuse me. Like,
Yes.
I mean, like, sorry. Can I ask what are you in here for? You don't look like someone that should be in this place. If I'm gonna be, honest, don't take that in the wrong way.
It's
You look like a good person. Don't take
She
her.
slits your throat and says, "Bitch, I deserve to be in here."
Yeah. All licking a knife. You don't know nothing about me.
it's quite a long tale. To be honest with you, I'm rather more intrigued with why I recognize you.
Who? Me?
The four of you. Have you done anything of note recently? Perhaps around these parts?
We were in a.
Considering I'm semi-conscious, can I just reply to this shit anyway?
You'd have to stop
But
long
they've been-
resting.
They've been incredibly noisy, so I've just
Yeah,
sort
you're
of,
trance sleeping. You can hear it, but you're gonna have to stop long resting and come out of trance
Yeah.
sleeping if you're gonna start
That's
responding
fine.
to stuff.
I come out of it and I'm just like, we were in the arena fights.
The champions of the arena. You four have fallen quite quickly. What are you in for?
got caught up in somebody else's mess.
Isn't that always the way?
Basically.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, definitely a lot more recently.
What about you? What are you in here for?
Oh, it's quite a tale. I'm sure you're well,
Well, we've got everything, including time.
you all look quite exhausted. Perhaps we will save it for another day. I suspect we have at least a few here together.
I hear that, and I'm just gonna go back into my trance sleep.
I want to fall asleep next to this little elf, this elf lady.
She's 5'6". She kind of like allows you to sleep near her and ultimately just like takes her place against the wall, sitting and just resting slightly there. You do kind of brush against her arm for a moment, and she feels oddly cold. But you brush it off as sort of a notion of your exhaustion and go to sleep nonetheless. Livia and Vice, you doing anything before you sleep?
Looking at each other confused.
Yeah, definitely looking at each other confused. I want to reach in to find the stone and just kind of just hold it and look at it for a minute.
Okay. You have it. It is upon your person. Do you want me to make it big? Oh,
You can-
this only shows to.
Oh, can I stop him if he looks like he's getting a stone out?
Yeah, sure.
Don't get it out.
Why? Well, what?
What if something happens? The thing said
Any
something
more
about.
than what's already happened?
You want it to happen in the middle of a prison cell where we can't do anything and we've got a wall of anti-magic?
Maybe it negates the magic. Who knows?
I don't know, but it said something about the stone and it wouldn't work until people knew about it or it said something and I can't read it right now. Just can you not?
All right. Okay. Put it away.
Stop touching yourself! You're making me uncomfortable!
Oh, I'm sorry. You've been putting things
Now
down
sit down so I can lay on your belly.
armor all day. Yeah. I do it once. You tell me I'm being indecent.
Livia, from the subsequent pages that you read in the book, outside of the one that you ripped and kept, you learnt that. Let me just check one thing. Hang on. Let me go back to the page.
It says when you die in the game, you die for real. Oh.
You're dead.
Yeah, I'm dead.
So you essentially read that it could be used, like it was to be used, and using it would cause the secondary feature of it randomly teleporting throughout the mortal realm. You don't know how to use it, but you know that it has a use. You have not tried to use it. You don't know if Vice has.
Vice, have you ever tried to use that thing?
No, never. Well, obviously, that one time when we were touching it. That's it. It's the only time.
You make it sound so dirty.
What was it, throbbing or something?
Oh dear lord.
I don't know. This is
No,
a
I
separate
mean-
game.
No, I'm talking about the thing. Was oh no, never mind, never mind.
I think we
Yes.
need to. It said something about like activating it when you knew about it, and something about teleporting from realms. But I don't know
Okay.
if that's something separate. I don't know if that includes. I want you to touch it, and what if you just poof?
I don't know. Maybe all five.
Maybe we all need to hold hands and sing a
We need to
chant. I
hold-
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but don't touch it.
Okay, all right.
Not until we come up with a plan.
Okay.
There's a plan.
Okay,
We have a plan on this thing. I'm getting very stressed right now. I'm really tired. Can we please just sleep? I want to lay on your belly.
All right. Belly.
I'm
Fine.
wondering how long that would take.
All right. Okay. Like, you know what? Elkas had the right idea. I'm gonna go to sleep. I mean,
Okay.
Your idea.
You all
Okay.
collectively go to sleep. You can switch over to your level 5 character sheets
Yo.
Yay!
as you successfully complete a long rest.
I don't want to hear this whole time.
I'm going to jump a couple days because you guys remain imprisoned in this cell for at least the next 2.5 days. We'll get to a sort of mid-ish day on the 7th.
How bad is the food?
Here's my. Oh,
The food is crap, the sleep is crap, and you get the feeling if you continue to sleep in this fashion that you're going to get kind of exhausted as a result of it. Elkas, what do you want to
So-
say?
yeah, basically. Do we hear anything interesting from the other cells or see anything interesting? Like, just with like any guards or any cells or anything?
So you can only
around?
really see into one other cell. It's a slightly larger cell, and it's just holding drunks and the like. Eventually, some of these drunks are let back into society, but the general conversation is the like of like, if you get this drunk again, we'll hold you indefinitely and stuff like that. Some fines are paid occasionally, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Okey-doke.
Anyone else?
oh my god! I finally got all my stuff. No, I'm just
Can change my shit.
I'm doing nothing right now.
Okay, Livia and Nemea, anything?
Nope.
Livia? No?
I'm
Okay.
stressing about what
So-
it means and
Uh,
debating whether we should touch the stone and hope that we just poof into.
Well, no, wait. Why don't we listen to this woman's story?
Yeah,
Let's-
well,
Can I look over and see if that old woman's awake? If not, I'm gonna wake her up.
Oh yeah.
I think
wake
she's
her up.
younger than you.
Huh?
I think she's younger than you. So,
I thought you said she's an old woman.
I didn't call her an old woman.
elf woman.
why do
not
I
old
have-
woman?
Oh.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
over the days that pass, the 2.5-ish days that pass, you guys occasionally chat to this woman. She then decides, having sort of got to know you a little bit, that you seem a sort of relatively forthright type, and she says to you, when one bit of like portion of the day where there's silence, you're all sort of relatively sitting close together. Vice is miming playing solitaire and asking if any of you are going to join. She says to you,
Oh my god.
okay, well, I don't know how much you know about the world. About 5 years ago, there was an invasion of sorts. Are you familiar with this?
Nothing. Yeah. Sorry.
Invasion?
Yes, you
I'll play things.
you may have heard of a group, a sort of guild, designed to do good.
Sorry, what's your name?
My name's Meliana. You had inquired as to now. I understand you're Livia and Vice, Elkas, Nemea, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am part of this group called Viorum, and a number of years ago, we saw fit to attempt to quell a demon invasion before it fully began. I think I've just found a small piece of wood in my trousers. There we go. I've had this thing like stabbing my leg the whole time. I think I had like a splinter that was in the edge of my trousers. It's just been stabbing me occasionally. Finally taken out. So she says.
So random.
Sorry, it was bugging me. She said, "We don't wholly operate within the accepted laws of the realm. Mostly, fellows that had the coin and the means would send word through letter or the like and request that somebody within our order attend them in some fashion for a small fee. And it became apparent that a number of our group at the time were going missing, having gone out on these missions that we were assigning to them as the higher ups amidst Viorum. I represent one of the higher ranks, an A rank member of Viorum, amidst two others, my brethren that I've not seen for some time now. We're actually somewhat still in operation, though admittedly at a reduced function. Obviously, I've been here for quite some time. It was 5 years ago that I used teleportation magics to appear before the king. The intention was to gather their aid in the incoming invasion of the demons. I was quite confident that I could convince him of what I told him was to be the case. Unfortunately, whilst I believe the king was willing to overlook the use of such magics, given that the threat was nearing Starvan's borders, his sons were not. Viorum has some history with the Anderblath trio, and their interference led to my eventual imprisonment here. Though to be honest, it grew quite dull quite quickly, so an old friend of mine, an older gentleman, constructed this for me, and she looks about her person at this point as if she's gesturing to her own person, which strikes you as relatively odd. She kind of motions for you guys to ask the questions that you seemingly have at this point. Does anyone want to say anything?
What's
Where
The
to
mayor.
start?
I mean,
Where
not the mayor. Yeah, Olivia, you seemed quite surprised. So, like, are you familiar with
I think that was
who this
meta
person is?
surprise.
Oh, was that meta surprise? Okay.
What were you
Sorry.
saying, Nemea?
I was just like, where to start?
Oh,
Like, this is like big.
I appreciate these. This isn't information that has wholly gone around the continent, but my understanding is that we were quite prominent in our day, and whilst admittedly we act now as a simple few, searching for our own and carrying out what missions we have left, I would have thought that perhaps some of you have heard of Viorum.
have I?
No.
Everybody roll history.
That's a good question. Have I? Have I got 2 or 3 history? I can't remember. Scroll.
17.
14.
Okay.
Ah.
Elkas?
15.
Okay, so Vice. You're the only one to have heard of them. You understand that they are essentially a mercenary group that claim to be doing good, but are using teleportation magics, which is a direct crime throughout Bela'Dun. Your understanding was that they disbanded at the end of some sort of large attack. But you all came across a statue to a fishy fellow in Bermit, I believe. You went to Bermit? That was the thing that happened? That's where the Vespa were?
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that statue, it stated that this person was some sort of hero, and I believe the plaque said something along the lines. It's mentioned Viorum, kind of in passing. You got his name, Nami Tidecaller, and there was sort of a following description on the placard at the bottom of the statue that mentioned Viorum in passing, but you didn't really remember it well enough to know specifically what it said. So you've all heard of them very briefly in passing. Vice, you're aware of specifically how they operate, in that they take a mission through receiving some sort of letter. They use orbs to teleport and return. Something you've heard of, that their teleportation magic is tied to these strange orbs that they have. And that their intention is to do good, but that ultimately they were committing crimes to operate. It's up to you what you want to do with that information, whether or not you want to tell the rest.
Okay. What was the Viorum? Is that the name of
Viorum, yeah. So the group is called Viorum. It's spelled like this.
Okay, cool.
They are essentially a mercenary group, supposedly out to do good, that you were under the impression was disbanded approximately 5 years ago, that have incorporated some sort of teleportation magics into their acceptance of quests or missions and their carrying out of their missions, of these missions,
Okay.
and that being strictly illegal has kind of got them a bit of bad attention, whilst ultimately they are recognised as a force for good.
Okay, fair enough. So Viorum, like I feel like I've heard that before, and I say you're that mercenary, right?
In a way, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, you guys, it feels like I'm just repeating everything you literally said. I guess that's what I'm doing because these
That's
guys
fine.
they're
So
not
yeah,
know.
you have this back and forth with Meliana. She confirms essentially what I've told you. Can you all roll history again, please?
21.
14.
Who's left? Vice.
Perception, sorry.
History again, please.
Oh, history. Okay, one second.
So Nemea, regardless of what Vice rolls, you specifically remember the use of orbs to teleport when you met with the
Original guy, all the way back.
yeah, the guy that gave you the prophecy right at the
Broker's
start.
Ridge.
Broker's
Yeah.
Ridge, thank you. Yes, the
Uh-huh.
merchants of Broker's Ridge. You remember?
Demon broke it and teleported.
Yes, exactly.
About 2 feet.
Yeah. I'll remind everyone of this adventure we had right at the start of Broker's Ridge with Lyell, and especially tell Elkus about it.
I'll just sort of be like, oh, interesting.
Our good
like
friend.
I'm very, very intrigued in it, and it sounds like an interesting time.
Oh yeah. And I think back about the orb as well because I remember that we fought against that boss that had the orb.
Yeah.
Teleportation orb.
So have you been here all 5 years?
I will certainly. Well, I'm gonna have a roll.
I also recall the man in the bar that disappeared in front of all of
Yes,
us.
he crushed something in his hand. You are exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I do not remember that.
As well.
Baal, the same person that told you the story of Lunari.
First time you guys met me.
Yep, that was in the bar where you met Elkas. Good memory, Ulrich.
For once.
So she looks about you and seemingly makes up her mind, Livia. She says, "This form has been here for quite a few years, ever since I was originally arrested and brought here. I've been waiting for someone I could entrust my task here to. You see, I've been told to leave the south to its various squabbles and focus my energies north. But I don't like leaving a task unfinished. However, without returning here in person, this form can't do much more. If you're willing, I could share some information with you and perhaps point you in the right direction, under the agreement that you do your best to prevent it. Judging by the fact that the guards confiscated some pages and some books, I believe you were involved in something in the library, and it appears they're too ill-educated to realize who they've come across.
Why,
Given
yes,
all
if you
this,
could-
I believe our intentions may be somewhat aligned.
we would more than happily hear what you have to say, and if we can.
Yeah, if we can help you, yeah.
Very well. You must understand, I'm not wholly here right now. This is simply a sort of vessel. Let me give you the information I will, and we can go from there. Bear with me. and she kind of shuffles about herself a little bit for a moment whilst I read my notes.
Hand me that.
God, you're reading your notes?
Okay. So I understand at least you, Livia, was it?
That's correct, yeah.
Are willing to carry out what good you can here in the south, but would the other three of you be willing to join her? Are you perhaps already some sort of group?
Yes. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, so you weren't in the arena by chance then? You entered collectively intentionally?
We did, yeah.
Well, I was here, so I didn't actually see any of the fights, simply heard the talk afterwards. Well, I suppose I would feel comfortable enough just knowing that if you come across any sort of great ill intent, that you will do your best to overcome it, and that perhaps that may be enough for me to leave this behind and carry on with my work. I'm actually quite far north at the moment.
Far north? Like, where? How far north?
I'm not too
Like
far
the mountains?
of the
The Dwarven Mountains?
Exactly. Do you know them?
I've never been there, but I know of them. My grandmother told me lots of the world.
I'm a few weeks from Dunbarlin, though I probably shouldn't say more. You seem trustworthy as it is, but we have suffered some losses in the past, I'm sure you understand.
Yeah, 100% as have we, as a group.
Well, and she kind of looks past you guys, and looks down at herself once more, and she was like, it seems you've come at the right time. This doesn't have a whole lot more use. Listen close. I believe we have some time, and she notices that the guards have kind of left this room for the moment. Several years ago, Viorum, my group, dealt with a demon invasion, as I've mentioned, with the assistance of many of our members. 3 of which found a sort of motherlode, and even went in as far as to close the primary portal of the demons were using, rather, to enter this plane itself. They lost one of their companions in the process. It's quite unfortunate. The invasion was carried out by a cult called the Ashwoken. But Viorum has long since believed that a puppet master of sorts created the cult for their own means. The Ashwoken are gone now, but we hear of a new cult roaming Bela'Dun and wreaking destruction not unlike the Ashwoken.
The Heart of Dawn?
I believe that's them, yes. It seems whoever this overseer is, that they have new intentions and are using whoever the Heart of Dawn are to carry them out. Unfortunately, it seems this influence has begun to infect the north, and that is why I've recently been sent to Dunbarlin, the Dwarven capital. It's also why I can no longer assist in the south, and have had to turn my gaze from this form. I hope this information serves you well. Unfortunately, I know little more about it. My understanding is that the Heart of Dawn are converging on this point for some reason, but my various friends and masters have advised me, as I mentioned, to leave the squabbles of the south as they be. I didn't want to simply leave without giving Starven a fighting chance, even if Starven themselves are blind to it. Do you have anything else you'd like to ask? What I'm about to do will be quite final.
Do you know when or where or anything that this is happening?
I have information from a friend, which is why I've turned my gaze here once more, that in the coming weeks a group will be involved with them in some fashion. She was unclear, as she often is, unfortunately. The nature of...
Does she have a name?
Nicola is her name, though I've not seen her in many years now.
Do you know anything about a woman named Fina?
I was just about to ask.
I'm gonna describe her appearance.
I'm afraid not. The small amounts of information I have were from my time here, when I was actually here in person. Outside of that, Nicola gave me some information and unfortunately has headed out on an endeavour that she was quite forthright about, and she went alone. I've not spoken with her since.
Do you have anyone in Starven that we could speak to about this?
all of my contacts are dried up. Viorum itself is not the once widespreading group that it was. I think I
Very
can hear
well.
them. Is there anything else you would ask?
Nothing that we would ask, but
Mm-mm.
I wish you the best, and I hope we see you again.
You too. I hope that this doesn't land you in any sort of trouble. Perhaps I can do it in a way that will prove you were not involved. And she looks past the gates and down the hallway. Perhaps we will meet again. If you do me proud, you'll have earned a powerful ally. And don't worry, Nicholas said that you don't stay long. Guards! And she starts shouting for them to come down. Several of them show up, 3 or 4 of the standard-looking guards, not the King's Guard. They all come to the cells, and she looks back at the 4 of you, and she looks at them, and she just says, they have nothing to do with this, but I suppose you're going to be quite confused anyway. I just want you to know that this is entirely my own doing. And then she turns to snow and falls to the ground.
What?
And the snow just kind of piles up on the ground and begins to melt somewhat. Those of
I
you
just
that
sort of,
have,
like,
you all have
nod
access
in
to spells.
approval.
Roll Arcana.
Yeah.
Everyone, because you all have access to spells, so everybody roll Arcana.
24.
23.
Nice.
22 and 21.
Hang on.
Arcana, it's under
No,
intelligence.
yeah, that's fine. It's
Second
just a D20 for me now anyway.
Oof.
It's
Kind of makes
The
sense.
D12.
D20.
Oh, it's just a flat D20. Okay. So Olivia
Yeah.
and Vice, you two are thinking on what she's said, and for a moment not really realizing what she's done, and kind of trying to be nonchalant in the presence of the guards. You kind of look away and are mostly focused on hiding the stone. Nemea and Elkas, you recognize this to be. Bear with me. So you recognize this to be an incredibly powerful spell, but you're not certain of the nature of the spell. What you specifically recognized from it is that it seemed to have been cancelled, as if intentionally ended, and that's all you can tell.
Fair enough.
And that's it. She falls to snow in front of you.
Okay.
Oh man.
Say what?
Yeah. So.
The guards start sort of shouting at the 4 of you various profanities of what the hell are you doing? What the fuck just happened? They all start sort of talking amongst themselves. One of them takes his sword and kind of prods at the cell wall, and it kind of pangs against a spike of purplish energy, and he's unable to pass the sword through. And he sheathes it and looks back at them. It's just like, it's still working. I don't understand. And one of them, who's remained relatively quiet, looks at them and just says, I think she's had something going on in there for a while. It's why we haven't opened the cells to this one in quite some time. Honestly, it's been a bit of a surge this year with Aurelueva. We haven't had one this big in recent years, and I would have avoided using this cell entirely if we could have. And they kind of gather, and they one of them looks back at the 4 of you and just says, if I find out any of you had anything to do with this, you won't be the only pile of liquid left in these cells. And they kind of all collectively gather off. One of them looks at him like, weird insult, but okay. And they walk back to what they're doing. 2 of them talk of going to inform the captain. You specifically hear the name Kravor.
Oh dear.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Sounds like trouble.
Which Vice you do remember.
I do remember that. Captain Cravor. He's captain of the dwarven guy.
He is, exactly, yes, a dwarven fellow captain of the Starven Guard.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So what do you guys do? You've just witnessed this in front of you. The guards seem to have left you alone at this point. They've stationed a couple that are now, like one sitting at the desk and another one's watching the doorway. But they don't seem to be listening in or anything.
So can we touch the gate and stuff? I know you said it's got like a magical.
Yeah, you can touch it.
You can touch it.
If you kind of try and fit your hand through the gap, it forces a kind of wave of purple energy to kind of be interacted with as though it was never there before, and it like just kind of tingles against your fingertips, and you're unable to push through it.
So there is no way of, well, basically there's no way of kind of like reaching out and
You
grabbing.
can't reach through the bars, no.
Can't
Anytime
go
you try
through
and
the
put
bars.
your hand against it, there's like a purpley glow that stops it from passing through.
Okay, is there anything else like distinctive in the cell, like any kind of like loose bricks, any type of?
Roll investigation. Okay. You find one larger piece of stone that is loose-ish, and as you kind of jiggle it about, it just cracks away, and you've cracked off a piece of one of the bricks. In doing so, you realise that the width of these large stones used to construct these cells is massive. Like, they are like 2 feet wide, essentially, so moving a brick would require immense strength.
Right. But you said it hasn't fallen out; it's just loose.
No, you've just cracked a piece off. It's the rest of it is
Okay.
not loose. This one sort of loose
Okay.
piece that you put your hand to is cracked away from the stone.
Okay, cool.
Anybody else doing anything?
I want to attempt to just is any guard looking into the cell right now?
You can wait for a time where it doesn't look like there is one. If you want to roll perception or investigation and see how well you discern that.
Yeah, sure. I'll do my very nice new perception.
Yeah, your level 5 perception. So you find a moment where it doesn't look as though either guard that's still in the room now is looking at you in your cell.
God, what was the spell that I was doing? It's because my phone just died, so I can't look at my thing. Right.
Cool. You need the spell cards that Sevi and Max have.
That would be very nice.
They sold
That's
out
right.
the Druid ones the very same day we were potentially going to buy them.
Damn. I want to what is it? Yeah, I want to just create a yeah, a small effect just in my hand to
Okay.
see what the weather's like.
Okay. Is it
Just Druidcraft.
just
Yeah, it's
Druidcraft?
just a cantrip.
Okay, no worries. So as you start to form this in your hand, you make the motions, and it doesn't happen as quickly as you're expecting. So you kind of start to force it a little bit, try and make the correct motions a little bit more in detail, and no matter what you do, nothing seems to happen.
Okay. So now I at least have discerned to myself that we can't use any kind of magic. That's good to know.
Given that, I'm going to say to Vice, you should get out your stone. Let's have a look.
Okay. Now's a good time, I guess. Might as well. And I'll put it out.
Okay.
And I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder, I'm sort of looking over.
Cool. You guys look at the large green gem that bears the symbol of Arella. Somehow inside it, despite the fact that the gem hasn't been cracked open in any fashion.
What do I see when I hold this gem? Does anything happen? Is anything going?
See exactly what I just described.
Cool. Can I
Okay,
ask
guys,
Vice if
shall
I
we-
can touch it?
Yeah.
If you can touch it, Livia.
Mhm.
Yeah. You do so. Nothing happens from what you can tell. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
I just want to look at it closer and just check that it is what I thought it was. It has the Arella symbol.
Can I-
Bears the symbol of Arella, yeah, somehow part of
Can
the
I just
central-
pass it? Can I just pass it around and say, look, you
Yeah.
know, try and see if there's something. Anyone.
I ask Livia to give me the shred of paper.
Okay.
Once I have the stone and everything, so that I can discern stuff.
Okay.
For...
So,
Just I want to see what it says.
Livia,
Everything.
do you do anything with it whilst you're holding the stone?
Other than try and feel for magic within it.
Okay. Nemea, do you do anything whilst you're holding the stone?
What?
I just want to like close my eyes and like kind of push my like magic force into it, if you know what I mean. Like, see if I can feel any presence,
Okay.
like any mage would.
Elkas, are you doing anything with it? Well, you have the bit of paper.
So she gave me the piece of paper, yeah?
Have you handed it over, Livia, or have you just showing it to him?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Right.
Wasn't really
I'm
a
going
Wait a
to
minute.
read this.
You started by handing it off.
No. Sorry, no. You carry on. It's
Okay,
not about.
cool.
I'm just reading the origin of the Dawnstone.
Okay, no worries. Elkas, carry on.
Yeah, I'm as reading through it and everything, I look at everyone and I say, we might not want to use this yet. Because reading through this, I can see upon its use, the stone would teleport randomly through the realm, meaning we only have one use of this. This could end up anywhere after we use it. If this is truly as powerful as we think,
That's not what it says, though. It says upon its use, the stone would teleport randomly throughout the mortal realm, offering no subsequent wielder its boon, lest they held the knowledge of how it arrived, which we do.
yeah, exactly. They offer
Also,
no
we don't know how to use it.
subsequent wielder. When we use it, it would teleport.
Elkas is right.
Yeah. I didn't
So-
say we wouldn't. You
Okay.
you said that we wouldn't be able to use it again. I'm
We
saying that's
wouldn't unless we
That is
find
correct. You'd have to find it again.
The stone would teleport randomly.
So once you there's two elements of it. You can have the stone but not know how to use it.
right. So we don't go with the stone.
You don't go with
No.
the stone. No, the stone will teleport randomly throughout the mortal realm upon its use. And no subsequent wielder would be able to use it unless they know where it came from.
Okay, that's not how I read it.
So
I
you
figured you'd be holding the stone, so
you
it's
know
fine.
where it came
Fine.
from.
it's fine. I get it.
Okay, cool, but I'm just clarifying for the sake of the entire group. You know where it came from, you know, like, its creation story, and that's the important factor. As a result, if you attempted to use it further than simply discern its magical nature by, you know, forcing your own magical will upon it or something
Yeah,
like
I
that.
wasn't trying to use it. That was not what
Okay,
I was doing.
and again, I'm not just talking about you. It would teleport. You would lose it potentially for good, most likely for good.
Right. Okay.
If it is the stone in the book.
Mate, I find it hard to not feel that it is. So who's got the stone right now?
Okay.
I'm holding it.
Okay. So, okay. Do you feel anything? Anything going on?
I want to let me just double check if I got anything I can do. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really do too much. I'll just go about my day. I'll just sort of hand it back to Vice, hand the
So
shred of paper back to
everyone
Livia.
who was trying to discern its magical nature, roll Arcana, please. Which I believe is just Livia and Nemea. Vice, if you want to add yourself to that, I'm happy for that. Because you sort of did kind of try and discern something to start with and then passed it on.
I do want to follow up on like what I was saying and everything by saying just like if we're gonna use this, I'd imagine we want to save it for whatever this invasion might be. Because I'm sure something incredibly powerful like this would come in very handy.
So
We
what
don't know
was
what
it?
it does.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Nemea,
Why would we want to use it when we have no clue what it does?
you recognize the single glimmer that I think you have seen in the past on this stone. That it momentarily is perhaps the most powerful single magic item you have ever come across, and yet in the same instant, this is a green rock.
Mhm.
And then
Gee.
from that point onwards, it just seems like a fancy gem with the Rella symbol deep in the center of it again. It lingers for a moment this time, Nemea, and you feel as though the possibilities of this specific item are potentially endless, which is probably supported by the nature of its creation.
I agree that we shouldn't use this stone yet. I'm starting to really feel its power. I we should use
No one
this.
said anything
Okay.
about using it.
Okay.
Why are you so hung up about that? Just because they're
Because
saying
everyone
I
keeps
agree.
being like, we shouldn't use it. We shouldn't use it.
Okay,
when we use
that's
it, and I'm
fine.
like, no one said let's use it. Like,
They can
Yeah,
still
What
offer
it
the
seemed
warning.
like was gonna happen.
Well, that's the thing.
like
if it-
it's a super powerful stone that teleports. Why would we use it? I don't understand why that's a thing.
I
Well-
feel like just like in like if we were actually there, I feel like everyone would just be like, yeah, we shouldn't use this. Like I feel like we'd all just be clarifying. that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
that's
it.
not that's not what we're saying. though.
Olivia-
People aren't saying we shouldn't use this. People are saying when we use it or we shouldn't use it yet.
Yeah.
That provides the assumption that you guys do want to use it, and
In
I'm on
time.
the fence of and I'm on the fence of why
Yeah.
would we?
You're
Yeah.
saying
I'm
you're saying
probably-
the group should never use it, Livia.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It's
Okay.
either
No,
extremely
just why
powerful and-
why right now are we talking
Also-
about using
also
it?
I'm thinking-
No,
Or
I
even-
think she is saying, like, she's team never used the stone.
What
No,
it was
I-
is
Well,
it's because
especially
he
given
was
that we don't
asking
know what
about
it does.
getting
You
the
guys are
stone.
like, oh, we're going to use this one day, but not right now. And I'm like, you don't know what it does.
Yeah.
Why
she's,
are you assuming
she's
we're
saying
gonna
never
use
use
it?
it until you know exactly what it does.
super
Okay.
powerful.
So
magic
Livia,
could
so
be very
Livia,
handy in a demon invasion, for whatever purpose it could prevent it.
Super powerful is not necessarily helpful. It can also be super dangerous.
This demon invasion was described to you as taking place with some sort of culmination 5 years ago, and you haven't heard anything of demons since. But you do know that the very history of Bela'Dun itself is that there was a demon invasion because of the acts of Malak Jekt, a tiefling who brought about an end to the war of races, where Stalvan was against the dwarves in the north, elves were fighting their own battle on both fronts. It's why Aegis exists. It's the very core lore thing of Bela'Dun. There was essentially a war of the races, if you like. It wasn't so much humans versus dwarfs versus elves, but it predominantly sat that way, which is why Stalvan is still predominantly a human capital, and Dunbarlin is still predominantly a dwarven capital. As far as you're all aware, kind of, there is no elven capital. And the rest of the races have homesteads that kind of is more in keeping with their race, but it's ultimately everywhere has become a metropolis. You know that Dragonborn have mostly taken to the deserts, but again they're found throughout, although they are a slightly rarer race. Malak Jekt was a tiefling who brought about the demons into this realm by opening a portal that allowed them to come here. It's why tieflings are hated, and generally there is some racism towards tieflings, because Malak Jekt was one, and he brought the demons into the realm, which caused all the races to band together, all the various south, north, elves, whatever, and eventually prevent the demons from winning that fight and ruling all of Bela'Dun. It's why peace was brokered many, many years ago. It's why teleportation was outlawed. Meliana spoke of 5 years ago another a demon invasion attempt that was stopped by Viorum to the best of her knowledge, but there has been no mention of large demon uprising since. Not in the last 5 years. History lesson for you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so, should we be worried about the guards going away, coming back?
Based on your rolls, you are doing this in the gaps. They are on
Okay.
patrol, and Elkas rolled high enough to sort of be like, shut up, shut up. Okay, go.
In just a fit of almost epiphany, or like, thinking of something else to try and everything, in one of those gaps, I want to try and become a cat.
Okay, cool. Remove one use of wild shape.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens.
Fair enough. And then I want a short rest.
You get a long rest before we get to anything else, so don't worry.
Okay. Livia,
Mm-hmm.
what's your thoughts on on using the stone on this magical field, touching it against the field or something, seeing if it does something? It drops it. I don't know. I'm with you with the whole, we have no idea what this stone does, but it's got some sort of magical power, magical, essence.
I know, but as much as it could drop
Right.
the shield, it could also cause a magical explosion.
It could.
That's my
it
point
could,
about
it
we
could.
don't want to use this yet, because even if it does take
Stop
away...
saying yet!
No, I'm just.
Why have you already made the assumption that we are going to use it at some point when we have no clue what it does?
We will at some point.
This is the assumption that
might,
we would be
And
using
kill
it
us all.
yet or whatever. I don't care, but using it now, no.
No, but words matter.
Okay, no, but what I'm just
No, don't put it in the shield. You
I'm
might
just
blow us
throwing
up.
ideas out. That's all it is. I'm throwing ideas out because we're stuck in this cage. Like this woman just melted.
She's fine. She knew what she was doing.
This woman just melted.
I'm gonna tell you what that was afterwards. It's funny.
You know, the stones, you know, we can't move. You can't turn into an animal to get through. We're trying to figure out a way to get out.
Just wait it out. They're not going to keep us locked in here forever. We didn't steal anything. Well, I know.
So what, you want to just ride it out?
Yeah. In a
That's
the
city
best
where
we
we're
can
banned
do,
from
to be
using
honest.
magic and we have an awesome, powerful, dangerous stone with a magic shield on our lock, unless someone can go and get the key. I feel like we've got to wait
we
it out.
can't. Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Unless you guys have better ideas. That don't involve the stupid stone.
Yeah, it doesn't involve the stone, but it might be over. It might be an overkill. Maybe we should just go with just the waiting out.
Can I shout out for a guard? And if someone comes over, ask them how long we're going to be held here.
Yeah, so one of them comes over and just says, there's a lot of processing at the moment because of a railway waiver. You'll be here as long as you need to be or until somebody posts your bail.
How much is bail?
How much is the bell?
For all 4 of you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Each. We can times by 4.
It's about 250 gold a head.
What? How much is that?
It's 250
About
gold.
2 plat.
No, I know it's 250 gold, but I
25
mean
plat a head.
25 plat a head.
Yes.
225, yeah, shit. Yikes.
Shit. Okay. You guys got? Have you guys got enough?
He walks away.
Okay. Cool. Has everyone got 25 plat? Should we just bail ourselves out?
Definitely not.
No, no way.
I cried to myself.
You do know, having recently been told it by Merliana herself, not that it hugely made sense, that you supposedly don't stay long, according to Merliana's friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Cool.
just sort of resign myself and then just lie down because
Well-
I can't think of anything to do here.
Yeah. I just don't. I might just sit in the corner.
Nice.
Yeah.
Want to play solitaire?
Yeah. Let's play solitaire. 2 players. Yeah. Let's go some time.
Not so solitaire.
Going into the bags that they didn't bother taking from you that are in the corner, this time Vice manages to find a deck of cards to play solitaire with rather than just sort of miming it previously. And I think right up to before a time jump of you guys generally being in this prison, I think that's where we'll leave it.
Hey.
Finally leveled
So,
up.
yeah, you guys have leveled up. You will almost definitely use your new stuff next session. And everybody take 250 XP each. RP XP.
250, yeah.
250 each.
Sick. What's next level up?
Cool.
Yikes.
A
Next
long
level
way
is
away.
So far away.
I'm gonna leave this drawing up. Yeah, the next level's like everything you've learned and double.
Yeah. Mm.
It's quite a lot to get to 6. But I think is it 7 you start getting 4th level spells?
It's a bit of an overkill, though, isn't it? To get to level 6.
Everything
That
ramps up
seems-
with you. So if you're leveling up because of fights, then you'll be fighting shit that offers enough XP that you still level quite consistently. But it does get slower over the levels. The purpose is that you get to... Well, you'd probably be level 20 after like 2-ish years of playing.
Freaking hell.
Which is the highest level you can go. Some people have adapted it so that you can go into higher levels, but then you have to multi-class. But we'll look at that in 2 years' time.
Freaking
Cool.
hell.
I'm gonna kill the stream. Thanks for
Bye,
watching,
stream.
people.
Thank you very much for watching.
See
Hope it
you
was
to
entertaining.
jump back in
if
next
anyone's
time.
there.
Bye.
Alright.